wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome and happy Monday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we basically talk about all things going on in pop culture, hot topics, and all that good stuff. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today. One of the things I was trying to figure out something before I went live with this show, but I'm gonna have to figure it out another time. But yeah, what happened? Okay, so I'm like off it today. Hopefully everybody's having a great Monday. I know it's been snowing everywhere. For those of you who didn't get caught up in the snow, lucky you. But those of us who got caught up in the snow, because we had a lot of snow in New York City, and me being out there shoveling all the mess, and all of y'all that went and took gigs where Zoran, our mayor, said if y'all go by a sanitation spot and you come in with your paperwork and this, that, and the other, y'all can make $30 an hour shoveling snow. So for those of y'all out here who need a little cointada, this is the best. This is a great time to get up out there and get some shoveling and make some money. So yeah, we got to talk about this. But in the meantime, so if for those of you who are sitting at home because of the snow situation, school, work, whatever the case is, glad that you could join me up in this messy show. But anyway, let's get to some of the topics that we got to talk about. We got to talk about this drama that happened at the BAFTAs where there was some dude with Tourette's apparently couldn't help himself from calling people ninjas and things. So we'll get into that and that half-ass apology from BAFTA, and Alan Cumming, you about to get astray too. So we got to talk about that. Plus, Mark Ruffalo was throwing shade at James Cameron because he decided to assert his nose up in this Netflix Warner Brothers drama. And I'm with him on this because we did mention it in passing in the last episode, but I got the full story, so we're going to talk about it. Plus, we got to talk about the GoFundMes. One we have, and it seems like it's a trend going on ever since, I don't want to necessarily say since James Vanderbeek, but I've been noticing James Vanderbeek, Eric Dane, now Miss J, everybody is putting together GoFundMes to help these famous people. And we need to get into a deep conversation regarding all of this because a lot of people kind of think, why are we giving rich people money? And it's like, first of all, stop counting people's accounts or wallets because you don't know what people are running with financially. Number two, we need to get into this conversation about our healthcare system and how this shit is all messed up to begin with. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we got to talk about Nicki Minaj because apparently this story came out from Politico where they're exposing her ass. I mean, it's not a lot of, and that's a whole lot of ass to expose. But they did a story where they talking about that she been posting using 18,000 fake, with fake 18,000 fake accounts and got a whole bot farm going on where she's been spewing misinformation for Trump and his people. Plus, Cardi B got dragged up in it because there's this Trump advisor by the name of Alex Bruesewitz who decided to throw her up in there and say that she's connected to the bot thing, and Cardi went and clapped back. So we got to talk about that. Plus, Kandi Burruss is revealing a specific situation that ended her relationship with Todd because she was on Watch What Happens Live last night. So we got to talk about that. Plus, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erika Jayne was talking about that she was in an abusive relationship post her marriage to Tom Girardi and how she had to call her cop son up in the drama. And we got to talk about David Archuleta because he has a new book out and revealed why he chose homelessness at the height of his fame. We also got, speaking of top model, we got to talk about Marvin Cortez because we was talking about him last week. Well, apparently he was talking about why he gave his thoughts on the docuseries, but also revealed why he decided to jump into male on male adult performing. That's what I'm choosing my words carefully. But you know what I'm saying when I get to that. Plus, Tim Gunn is opening up about why he's been celibate for 43 years. And we got some sad news from the drag race world. We lost another queen, so we got to get into that and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you can please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. We also have memberships, so if you want to join the memberships, you can. But if y'all ain't got coins like that, definitely hitting the like, the subscribe, all that other stuff definitely helps with the show, pushing it out there so that way we can get more eyes on it. The channel is growing. So I appreciate all the new people that's come up here and supporting the show. And those of you vets that have been with me, rocking with me since the beginning and all that good stuff. So let me hit my comment situation because I always forget to put that on. Let's see what the people are saying. Oh, Sailor Mermaid's in the building. Well, I don't know if he's in the building still or if he working, but I'm like, child, I would not be out and going out in these streets with this weather. But then again, he lives in the city, so you can get around no problem. But those of us that gotta sit and travel far and wide to get to Manhattan, well, we call it the city. It's not easy for the rest of us because he lives over there in the same building as Wendy Williams. If she got coins, try to let it go. Well, y'all talking about Elsa from Frozen. Screen fans on part 7 delayed. That's nice. People are gonna find a way to get to the theaters because they are saying that it's supposed to snow again on Wednesday and Thursday, and so we're supposed to be getting consistent snow. But if we got to, we will travel far and wide to get to this movie, so it's not going to get delayed. Hopefully, this snow thing is a myth and it's not going to happen. But because today's snow, I mean, the snowstorm from last night and into today, this is the most snow we've had in a while. And I was sitting there like, yeah, it took me back to the days when I was a kid and we had this much snow because we haven't had this much snow in a while. I like when it's an inch and it don't stick. But when you got to actually get out there in these streets and shovel and all that mess and that shit, well, the snow was heavy. But you just take your time, break it up and all this other stuff. I'm going to give me a snow blower. That's what it's not snowing in North Carolina, but it is cold AF. I just went grocery shopping. So I know it's got to be cold. I hate going grocery shopping, but bitch, when you starving, you got to. I literally wait till the last minute when I ain't got no food left, and then I'm like, fuck, I gotta go because I will find a way to not go food shopping, but because it's a lot. It's like you gotta go to the thing and you gotta go through the aisles and you gotta figure out what you want, and then it's just like, okay, this price done went up. And why is this thing so expensive when just maybe a week or two ago it wasn't that expensive? It's just moron, these damn tariffs and raising stuff. And I'm glad that they're introducing a bill where people can get refunds on their tariffs. But this fat orange fuck don't know what the hell he's doing. The situation is getting good in Mexico. It's almost done. But I got to dig more into the whole Mexico situation. But that's crazy. I mean, like I said before, and I don't care if people get mad. I said the U.S. has been arming the Mexican cartel, and that's no different than Israel arming Hamas. And yes, Hamas was armed by Israel so that way they could do their dirty work and make it look like their hands is clean, similar to America. As they should, because he don't know what the hell he's doing. That man likes I guess that man likes a lawsuit and being caught up in court. But I guess with him, he was thinking like, I'm gonna just do whatever and I'm not gonna pay it. So y'all can just keep doing whatever you're doing. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And so it's just gonna be a back and forth because nobody holds his ass accountable for nothing. But what we are gonna do when we get to this first topic, as I hit my banner, is we're gonna be holding some people accountable for this topic. Let's talk about the BAFTAs. So the BAFTAs happened. Personally, I don't give a good goddamn about the awards, who won. Okay, congratulations to everybody that got their awards. Heard one battle after another, cleaned up. That was great. Marty Supreme basically didn't win. I don't think they won anything. So I think they said that was the movie with the most losses in history. And plus, Alan Cumming was shady for that little joke that he made at Kylie Jenner's expense because he was talking about some candy or something from the UK that they eat, and I guess try to equate it with like oral sex because we know how a lot of them Kardashian or Kardjenners pretty much get their footing in the industry. Bringing their knee pads to every meeting. It wasn't because they were smart business women. A lot of it was who y'all was spreading y'all legs for. And then y'all were able to make that into use sex to turn your little situation into an empire, thanks to Kim's vagina. But other than that, I just found it really interesting. I mean, I didn't watch the award show, but I did hear the drama that happened around that. So apparently what's been going on is Delroy Lindo and Michael Bakari Jordan got up on stage, and I think they were introducing one of the category. I think it was for like special effects or something. It might be in the story. It was best visual. Yeah, it was. It was best visual effects. Close enough. So that's what they were introducing. And then this dude that was like a Tourette's activist, and the movie was a movie he did was based off his life or whatever. Started shouting a couple of derogatory words. I heard he dropped the F-bomb, and he was dropping a lot of cursing throughout the whole situation before it got to the point of him dropping, the ninja word. We got to keep it clean. The N word on, while they were watching or while they were presenting. So after all of that backlash that happened, we're going to get to the backlash. We're going to get to the backlash from Jamie Foxx, where he basically called it out, and Delroy Lindo's comment. He spoke out about it, as well as Sinners. Who was it? The production designer, Hannah Beachler. She also got a N-word stray from that dude. So we're going to get into all of that, but I need to lay it on out for those who haven't been paying attention. So let's get into the article. So according to Variety, they said the British Academy has responded to the controversy surrounding the BAFTA Film Awards on Sunday night, where Tourette syndrome campaigner John Davidson made a number of offensive comments during the show. Among his involuntary outbursts caused by his condition was the N-word shouted when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presented the award for Best Visual Effects for Avatar: Fire and Ash. Now, in a statement issued Monday, BAFTA said that it took full responsibility for putting its guests in a very difficult situation, that we apologize to all. It also said it wanted to apologize unreservedly to Jordan and Lindo, saying we would like to thank Michael and Delroy for their incredible dignity and professionalism. I have a problem with that. Before we get to the rest of this article, your dignity and professional, excuse you, fuck you, first of all. And that's me without the Tourette's, because I don't have that shit. But I'm gonna tell you one thing: your mouth may be full of Tourette's, but these fists, they got Tourette's too. So I don't know how they're gonna respond to you saying that word to me. But I'm gonna get into my overall thoughts about that. But this shit done pissed me off. And I was like, when they went and made that comment about, oh, I want to thank them for their incredible dignity and professionalism, because they're actors. They have to stand there. I mean, you don't have to, but when you're in the A-list and you going along to get along and you in the room with the elites, number one, you have to put yourself in a situation of these people. If I'm Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo and I'm standing there and somebody like a goddamn parrot that just learned the word. Like, if you saying that to me, I'm like, what did the motherfucker just say? And then I'm like, oh, now I gotta maintain a certain composure, because now that he done pissed me off, but I can't come out and react the way I want to react, because y'all gonna say, oh, he's aggressive and he's in the wrong, and here y'all go with the black stereotypes about black people being aggressive and mean and all those other things. I said, but wait a minute, you didn't hear what this motherfucker was shouting from the audience? But my reaction to what his ignorant ass said is the problem when he's the problem. And if you have issues where, yeah, you did a movie where you have a condition that the side effects is that you blurt out derogatory words, then maybe your ass should have stayed the fuck home and you shouldn't have been out there in a live show. And that's why I'm gonna get y'all on your BAFTAs, because y'all are some damn hypocrites. Because y'all sitting there when it came to the N-word, because there was another thing that somebody said that y'all bleeped out. Y'all had no problem bleeping out when a director was like Free Palestine. Y'all remember to take that out, but you couldn't take out this man saying the N-word to these two and the production designer of Sinners. Y'all forgot to take that part out, but you could take out Free Palestine. Y'all remember to do that. So we know what it is that you're all about protecting the government and all this other stuff, especially when people sit and partake in, oh, well, we can't, Israel and the control and certain things that you can't say to a certain people, but black lives don't matter to y'all. The disrespect of black people is not a concern, but people sitting there speaking up for the dissolvement, the murder, the genocide of brown people in Palestine and Gaza, that all of a sudden, y'all can remember to take that part out. So y'all can kiss my ass I was gonna say from the back. It is behind me, so you would have to go from the back. You can kiss my entire ass on this apology. But let's get into it because that shit pissed me off. It's like they're undeserved, their dignity and professionalism. So how come they always have to sit and be dignified and professional, but then the motherfucker can say whatever the hell he want to say, and we supposed to look the other way because all of a sudden everybody's an ableist. Everybody all of a sudden gives a fuck about some damn disabled person. Oh, so we supposed to just give a damn because he got a disability. He gets a pass. But these black people that were disrespected, oh, I'm just so happy that y'all were dignified and professionalism through the disrespect. Because if it was me, I'd have slapped the shit out of him. I don't give a fuck what his disability is. And on that point, let me ask you this. Because we've been noticing this trend of people who like to hide behind traumatic situations and disabilities to excuse racist behavior. So are we forgiving Cognac? Does that mean that all is forgiven, that Cognac can come back and start touring on his own now because of the anti-Semitic stuff he said about Jewish people? He blamed that on a car accident. So do we get to move the goalposts on that, or is it just different because it's a white man in media or in the industry? So white people get to have a pass and excuses, but if anybody else does the same goddamn thing, all of a sudden like all bets are off. Just let me know where the goalpost is so I know where to move it. Just let me know. So they said the situation was addressed in the ceremony on the night where host Alan Cumming, who I'm going to cuss his ass out in a second too, but let me finish, made two statements thanking the crowd for its understanding of Davidson's disability and apologizing should anyone have been offended. That's another line that's pissed me off. Should anyone have been offended? And Alan, this ain't the first time your ass, and I'm so somebody called this out, this ain't the first time his ass has kind of been sort of racist too. Because I don't know if it was Kempire on one of the shows I was watching, but they said that he did an interview recently. I can't remember exactly who the interview was with, but they were asking him about the traders and who was the most problematic trader or whatever that I guess that he had to deal with on the show. He couldn't remember the girl name, but it looked like he was trying to choose his words carefully on how to describe her, but I'm assuming that she was black. So I'm starting to think that Alan Cumming, you might A, be racist, or B, you have racial blind spots that you need to be called out on. And I'm calling your ass out, and I ain't the only one because he was called out by another person too. When we're gonna get to that in a second. But he was, when you're sitting up here saying, when you're trying to make excuses for this guy's disability, and it just feels like what Hannah Bleachler said it was a throwaway. That it felt like your apology felt a little throwawayish. Because when you're sitting there saying that, oh, and then they went on and said, because when you said you're thanking everybody, oh, please, I'm thanking you so much for understanding. I'm like, If you know somebody has outbursts and is going to be disrespectful, I'm not going to sit there and just be like, okay, I'm uncomfortable. We can't say nothing because he's got a disability. Something has to be done. I don't know what that is. Maybe call the supervisor or whatever the case was like, you're doing all this. You can't be up in here. So then they went on and said that he excused himself in the ceremony about halfway through. Oh, I'm so glad he found it within his heart to actually realize that he was being a nuisance and had to get up and leave. I'm glad he voluntarily left. Kudos to him. You want a fucking cookie? So then he excused himself in the ceremony about halfway through, but the situation only escalated when the BBC kept the racial slur in its tape-delayed broadcast, something it too apologized for before removing the program from its iPlayer streaming services. Now, in a news statement, they took time to praise Davidson for choosing to leave this. Oh my God, here y'all go. Y'all, it's like, it's the wording, it's the way that y'all do that. It's like, y'all don't realize how rooted in y'all own whiteness that y'all are in this whole situation. They don't see it. But it's sad that we as people of color have to always see through the bullshit and call it out for y'all for you to get it. But they don't see it because this is not something they have to deal with until you say something towards them that affects them. Then all of a sudden they want us all to feel bad for them. Just like this whole situation where the world is becoming what it's becoming. It's like, but wait a minute. We done told you motherfuckers how the world was and what was going on. We told you the world was on fire. We told you the world was unfair towards people of color. But now that y'all are being affected, like what happened with Renee Good and that whole situation, now y'all wanted us to jump up and down and feel and want to join hands and sing Kumbaya and link arms and all that shit. It's like, we done told y'all. Now we just gonna sit back and watch the world burn, and y'all have to deal with the aftermath of it. Same thing with this shit. And this is where I feel like black people, but y'all not gonna do it in Hollywood. Y'all need to stop going around moving like tap dancing for these goddamn award shows because y'all want to be in the room with these elites. This is the time where y'all need to start putting energy into shows for colored people by colored people. Because y'all sitting up here thinking, oh yeah, we in the room with these people and they care about us and all these other things. And then this happens and then you're reminded what you are at the end of the day. What that man said with the Tourette's. Because they'll be quick to remind you of who you are. And that's what I keep trying to tell y'all. Stop always trying to be thinking like, well, because Sinners is getting all these awards and they're acknowledging certain things that, yeah, the world is changing. No, these people are wolves in sheep's clothing. A lot of them try to act like that they're liberal in a lot of what they believe or very open-minded and stuff. No, they all, at the end of the day, they wallow in their own bigotry. They wallow in their own conservatism, and that's all they care about. And the sooner y'all realize that, the better. So here's their tight ass statement because we have to be practical when we talk about these things. So it says, at the BAFTA Film Awards last night, our guests heard very offensive language that carries incomparable trauma and pain for so many. We want to acknowledge the harm this has caused, address what happened, and apologize to all. One of our guests, John Davidson, MBE, has Tourette syndrome and has devoted his life to educating and campaigning for better understanding of this condition. Well, you did a horrible job of doing that because I'm thinking like if you got all the money in the world or whatever the case is, you're supposed to be this advocate. Aren't there systems in place that help y'all try to nip that condition in the bud? Or if you do get into situations where maybe, I don't know, if your tics or your nervousness is igniting the tick even more to the extreme that there are things that you could do to kind of nip that in the bud. I'm just asking because I don't know much about Tourette's, but I'm assuming that the way y'all go about it now, where y'all want to have all these acronyms, all these new companies and all these other things that y'all want us to feel sympathy and empathy for, that y'all got things in place that's supposed to help your ability or disability, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm just asking. Because you want me to understand, and I'm understanding, but y'all don't seem to understand how this affects the other people. And two things can be true at the same time. Where it's like, we understand the disability, but you also should understand how do you think these people feel when you said what you said to them and how that affects them. I don't give a good goddamn about your ability, or your disability. So we got to call it out on all sides. You can't just be like, oh, well, we got to feel for the man with the Tourette's. But fuck their drag, right? We take the duty of care to all our guests very seriously and start from a position of inclusion. We took measures to make sure those in attendance aware of the tics, announcing to the audience before the ceremony began and throughout that John was in the room and that they may hear strong language, involuntary noises, or movements during the ceremony. Also, what we are that this contains strong language, violence, and nudity. Viewer discretion advised. This is not the MPAA. We're not doing that. Because you're not going to prepare me for no shit and be like, okay, we're just going to just sit there and be quiet and, ooh, he said that, okay, but that's the tick. Okay. Let's look the other way and pretend we don't hear it. I'm no. He's asked you to stay the fuck home. And you should have somebody accept the award on his behalf, or he filmed something via satellite, thanking people and keeping it moving. Y'all decided to put him in the audience, knowing full on well that we was going to be aware of, and we supposed to just be okay with it because he's got a disability and we got to be all fucking inclusive. Suck my dick from the back. Now, during the ceremony, John chose to leave the auditorium and watch the rest of the ceremony from a screen, which you probably should have had him do from the beginning, put him in a damn suite, so that way he'd have to be with just him and all them ticks by himself, or an assistant, whoever he be rolling with that's used to it. And we would like to thank him for his dignity and consideration. But okay, I'm done. Because now y'all talking about dignity and consideration. Y'all getting on my goddamn nerves. Oh, and so then he also released a statement. So we got to get into that. So he also said, I want to thank BAFTA and everyone else at the award last night for their support and understanding and inviting me to attend the broadcast. I appreciated the announcement to the auditorium in advance of the recording. Excuse me, warning everyone that my tics are involuntary and not a reflection of my personal beliefs. Now, why do I feel like I'm having a goddamn tick trying to process that last sentence? It's not a reflection of his personal beliefs. Well, you do know the word nigga is taught. It's not something that you just wake up one morning and it just files in your brain. You saw black people a couple of times, and you felt it in your spirit to shout that word. But that's not a reflection of your personal beliefs? Okay. I was heartened by the round of applause that followed this announcement and felt welcome and understood in an environment that would normally be impossible for me. In addition to the announcement by Alan Cumming, the BBC, and BAFTA, I can only add that I am and always have been deeply mortified if anyone considers my involuntary tics to be intentional or to carry any meaning. But where's the part where you actually say that you shouldn't have said that word? Where's that part in the sentence? I was in attendance to celebrate the film of my life, I swear, which more than any film or TV documentary explains the origins, conditions, traits, and manifestations of Tourette syndrome. So everybody got Tourette's be saying, nigga, put me on. I have spent my life trying to support and empower the Tourette's community and to teach empathy, kindness, and understanding from others. I will continue to do so. I chose to leave the auditorium. Okay, I'm done. Look, can't even finish neither one of these because it's bullshit. Whatever. Now let's get into the next one. Because after that whole situation, production designer and nominee Hannah Beachler spoke out about the handling of the incident. She said that Alan Cummings' throwaway apology over the N-word being shouted during the BAFTA Film Awards made the situation worse. She said, I keep trying to write about what happened at the BAFTAs, and I can't find the words. The situation is almost impossible, but it happened 3 times that night, and one of the 3 times was directed at myself on the way to dinner after the show. And a 3rd time at a black woman. I understand and deeply know why this is an impossible situation. I know we must handle this with grace and continue to push through, but what made the situation worse was the throwaway apology of if you were offended. And that's why I always say, regardless if it's racist, homophobic, any kind of phobia or negative thing that you say, when somebody says, if you were offended, excuse you, motherfucker, you can take that apology and shove it up your ass, which we already know Alan likes shit up his ass. So that probably will be comfort for her. But you run up in here saying, if you were offended by what this person said, no, please don't. I don't want your mouth on my dick. So even if I'm metaphorically speaking, no, you could pay it. And I was starting to like your ass. I liked you in the X-Men movie and I like you on the Traitors, but now you showing your entire ass and you pissing me off. So she said, of course we were offended, but our frequency, our spiritual vibration is tuned to a higher level than what happened. Absolutely. And that's why I said I'm high vibration when it comes to stuff like this. We're not low vibration like a lot of you bitches. I am not steel. This did not bounce off of me. They said she spelled steel wrong because steel should have been S-T-E-E-L, not S-T-E-A-L. S-T-E-A-L is when you're taking something that don't belong to you. It's funny how I got to sit up here and explain the difference between the two steels in your spelling. But whatever, it happens. People be emotional and they start misspelling things, and it is what it is. So she said, I am not steel. This did not bounce off me, but I exist above it. It can take away from who I am as an artist. I mean, it can't take away who I am as an artist. Beachler was understood to be referring to a number of outbursts by Tourette's campaigner John Davidson, whose life inspired the BAFTA-nominated biopic, I Swear. Literally. As well as shouting the word fuck multiple times during speeches, including shut the fuck up during BAFTA chair Sarah Putt's introduction to the ceremony. He was also heard shouting the N-word when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presented Fire and Ash with the award for Best Visual Effects. BAFTA host Alan Cumming, we already talked about what he had said, saying that the strong language in the background can be a symptom of Tourette's for some people and thanking the audience for their understanding, blah, blah, blah. He also said Tourette's syndrome is a disability and the tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette's has no control over their language. We apologize if you are offended. Despite the ceremony airing with a 2-hour delay on BBC One in the UK and E in the US, the slur was not cut from the broadcast. So I swear did win a number of awards during the evening, including one for actor Robert Aramayo, who beat out Jordan as well as Leonardo DiCaprio and Ethan Hawke to take home the leading man statue. Well, here's the thing: nobody ever heard of this damn movie before because it's not even nominated for for an Oscar. But I guess is this dude British? That's probably why. So they said he was diagnosed with Tourette's at age of 25 after years of outburst. Well, you would think that if somebody having an outburst, y'all would have had that diagnosed eons ago. How he just getting diagnosed at 25? Now, before the ceremony began, a floor manager who addressed the audience to issue a number of notices regarding things such as fire safety protocol flagged that Davidson was in the audience and that he has Tourette's. So please be aware, you might hear some, yeah, okay, whatever. We already know that y'all gave like 8 million damn warnings. So yeah, so she gave her thing. I feel like she said what she said, and it is what it is. I don't need to add any more to that. Now, to continue on, Jamie Foxx done gave his opinion on this situation because he was on social media and decided to go in and let have on Mr. Man with the parrot's disease, just shouting shit out like he a damn parrot. So he commented on an Instagram clip from the controversial moment, calling it unacceptable. Nah, he meant that shit, the Oscar winner wrote. Out of all the words you could have said, Tourette's makes you say that. Now, Davidson hurled the N-word. Okay, we already know why he did it. We don't need to go through it again. We also need to talk about the whole half-ass bullshit apology that Alan Cumming decided to make on behalf of everybody, but I guess fuck black people and what they think. The traders also know that, well, it was a disability, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So I totally agree with Jamie where he's like, yeah, he meant that. Unacceptable. Because my thing is, how all the words in the world that you saying when you see black people in a room or on stage, that's the word that keep popping up in your mind. Because racism isn't something that you just, it's a virus, it's a disease. It's something that is taught. It's something that is a behavior that you learn from somewhere. Either your family members, you probably came up growing up in a house full of damn racists. And because there's other people that's able to hide it well, or sorry, we live in a generation now, but because we got a certain fat orange fuck in the White House, he feels like he gives a battery in a lot of y'all backs to spew racial slurs and stuff, either on social media or in people's face. But when y'all say it to people's face, we've been seeing the videos where y'all be getting knocked out. So if y'all want to fuck around and find out, let me know. Now, it's last but certainly not least, Delroy Lindo, who was the one who got hit with the racial slur, has spoken out while, he was presenting an award at the show. So he said he was not impressed with how BAFTA reacted after Tourette syndrome advocate John Davidson yelled a racial slur while Lindo was presenting an award with Michael B. Jordan during Sunday's ceremony. During the show, as y'all know, while they were presenting for Outstanding Special Visual Effects, they were called a ninja. Now, after the show, Lindo said that nobody from the British Academy of Film and Television approached him or Jordan to offer an apology or acknowledge the incident at all. While speaking to Vanity Fair at a Warner Brothers after party, Lindo said that he and Jordan did what we had to do when we were on stage, but added that he wishes someone from BAFTA spoke to us afterwards. Which goes to tell you that they're only sorry and reacting because of the backlash. They're not sorry. They knew what was going on with that whole, and like I told y'all before, if they were sorry, they would not have I mean, if they didn't know what they were doing, if they wouldn't know what this was going to happen or expected, whatever the case is, then why is it that y'all blurred out Free Palestine from a director who got on stage and accepted a woman saying Free Palestine? They bleeped that out. They removed it. But you can remove nigga multiple times that this guy was saying. So fuck you, BAFTAs. You're trash. You're corny. And you can take your apology and shove it where the goddamn sun don't shine. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I know it was a lot, but I wanted to wrap it all up and bring everybody's commentary. I don't think Michael is gonna say anything about it until maybe, who knows, maybe when he's got a movie to promote, he'll put it on social media or something or another, or when he's got to do or maybe around the time when the Oscars happen or any more award shows. I don't know if any more award shows is left. I know we got the Oscars coming next month. So if he goes on the red carpet, they'll ask him how he felt, probably ask him some questions or whatever the case is, and he'll address it then. But so far, he's not speaking out on it. And when I tell you, I don't give it a good goddamn if you got a disease where your asshole is about to fall out of your body and your intestines is coming out, whatever, or your brain's leaking out of your ass. I don't care what it is. When people show you who they are, regardless if you got Tourette's or whatever the case is, believe they ass the first time. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I got a lot of comments, so let me run upstairs. Run upstairs. Let me excuse me. I was there. Wait, you was there since the days you had co-host. What are you talking about? Hands down, heart red. Chris Ham. Ethan told Jamie Foxx fuck off. It wasn't who cares about what Ethan ugly ass Klein got to say about anything? Nobody cares about that old retard. He said this is why Hollywood doesn't have the largest studio. Tyler Perry wins, racist gatekeepers all day. Hollywood, you have blocked your own success. Saying Black Brits defending this guy is true. Well, you don't even get me started on Black Brits and that whole mental slavery they got going on. The irony about all this is Ryan Coogler made history to have the first Black man win in his category. Yeah, that's being overshadowed by this foolishness. In my opinion, he still said a racial slur to two people. Three, this only exposed that the word must be floating in his head often if he couldn't fight the urge to say it. Ooh, you said we know how they have award. Roman Polanski, that rapist. He said one of the Black men on the BAFTA committee has stepped down because he said the Black people were not feeling safe at. Good to know. I was that shit pissed me off. And you said, I know people that wouldn't give a damn that he's disabled. They would have made those Tourette's worse. Okay, that's why I said these hands got Tourette's too. The BAFTAs messed up. They should have immediately apologized. That's why I said they should have immediately apologized. Like, how you want to sit up out here and just let this thing simmer? Y'all knew that this man said what he said and was like, and now y'all only apologize because of the backlash. Y'all waited too damn long because social media is quick. Y'all don't, there's no excuse anymore that we got to make statements through this, and it. Social media is real fast these days. Y'all could have went up there and immediately after that thing came out, like somebody come up with something, right? I apologize, but don't come in there with that. It's the wording in what they were saying. Y'all always got to read between the lines when people, how they word stuff to show you if they really mean their apology, and they don't. So fuck y'all and y'all apology. I'm wondering what happened with the wait. I'm wondering that what happened at the BAFTA is going to affect the SAG and the Oscars. Didn't the SAG Awards happen already? SAG Awards is now the Actors Awards. I hate that name. Why are y'all calling it the Actors Awards? Like fucking Screen Actors Guild. That's what they are. I know this in an industry award, but going forward, I don't think any actors of color should attend. That's what I say. Even if movies is nominated, we shouldn't show it because here's the thing. They may not want to accept this, but Black people and queer people are the backbones of entertainment in the industry. And without us, y'all ain't got nothing but basic ass programming. So if we don't show up, then we set a precedent. And that's President Precedent. This is why I love the Image Awards. I don't really watch a lot of these award shows though. This was not a tick. Just like people with Alzheimer's and dementia, they never forget. Exactly. And speaking of Alzheimer's and dementia, the current president of the United States has no problem with all the racist shit he says. I don't know if it was necessarily for shock. He meant what it, I was shocked when I heard it, but I don't know if it was necessarily for shock. Ooh. But then again, if we're gonna talk about Anne, you said as a Warhol criminal. I forgot what job he said she did because I know once upon a time she used to work in like doing animation and all this stuff. I mean, that's probably why he's able to do his show and she makes all the money. But then again, he walks around talking about how he got Teslas and all this other stuff. So I'll be side eyeing him sometimes. It's about, well, I bought it before Elon and you could sell it. So you make an excuse that, well, I bought my Tesla before Elon was Elon. When we found out who he was, doesn't excuse the fact that you driving a fucking Tesla. Yeah, the guy, where was it? I got rid of the picture, but I mean it's in here still. Hold on. Yeah, this man. You know, talk about. Why was this one? Yeah, the man here on the right next to Bakari and Delroy, that's the man that got the Tourette's that said what he said. He didn't feel, yeah, not because I didn't hear no apology. I was mortified. You said nobody needs black approval. Well, clearly you do because now you're going to no longer be up in here. So you can go fuck yourself. Nobody needs black approval, but you felt the need to come in my comments with that one and thinking you was going to get away with saying what you said. Y'all really don't be thinking like, I got time to be cussing y'all out. I do. Plenty. Oh, but I thought that they stopped calling it the SAG Awards. Might be. I did. You said I updated my logo. Yeah, yesterday. All right, y'all. Where we going? Okay, so let's move on with the rest of the show. And let's talk about some more Hollywood drama. So apparently Mark Ruffalo had time to go in on James Cameron. Can I tell you one thing about Mark Ruffalo? I've been loving this man. I mean, I always liked him as an actor and stuff, but I just love he's like, I got no hair on my tongue. I don't give a damn. Like, I'll still get roles or whatever the case is. If y'all want to blacklist me in certain situations, that's fine, but I'll always get work. But I love the fact that I don't care how many gigs or whatever the situation is, I'm still going to come out here and speak on things, whether you want to hear it or not. And even if y'all don't think it's right, but he's always on the right side of history. Whereas James Cameron, you need to worry about why this last Avatar movie didn't make as much money, and people are getting tired of seeing you reheating your nachos for every goddamn movie, and thinking just because you put a bunch of blue people in it that we supposed to care. But you literally with fire and trash, you basically just reheated the nachos from the second movie. And let's call it what it is. So Mark has shared his thoughts on James Cameron's letter in opposition to Netflix buying Warner Brothers Discovery. And also we were going to get into, Tess and Randall's put James Cameron fake ass on blast too. And I have his comments, so we don't get into that. So the four-time Oscar-nominated actor called out the Avatar writer/director over his recent letter, claiming that the deal would be disastrous for the theatrical motion picture business, asking if Cameron feels the same about a potential Paramount sale, which I've been saying, so we really going to be up in here doing that when in full on work, but you're not going to call out Paramount for what they're doing, where they're trying to turn CBS into the Fox News network with all the craziness they got going over there, causing real journalists to actually step down because they got a four-eyed bulldagger over there that don't know what the fuck she doing. Barry Weiss. So we're gonna move the goalposts in that, and then the fact that they're trying to pull all these little antitrust stunts in order to acquire multiple studios, and then we also not going to talk about the fact. Well, they did say that the latest thing is they are probably going to up the amount of money, but I think Netflix will basically match them, if not offer more. And I don't really believe that Paramount is going to be able to get their hands on it because, for what? I mean, y'all basically just, well, I can't say for what. I know why. They want to own CBS. I mean, not CBS. They want to own CNN. And they want, I mean, even though, like I already said, CNN is kind of sort of MAGA light, where they keep having people like that moron Scott Jennings up there with that, how he be looking all smug and shit. I'm like, I be wanting to hit him every time I see him on camera. It's like, why are you looking like that? So, just like real, like totally oblivious to what's going on and just real smart. I can't stand people like that. Him and Bill Maher, like those two are idiots, like big morons. And then on top of that, they just had recently, what's his name? Peter Attia, who had a job over there and was supposed to be working over there, but apparently they found out that he was connected to Jeffrey Epstein, which we all knew this. Not only is he Jeffrey Epstein doctor, he was also Joe Rogan's doctor. And now they were sitting up there talking about that they're going to try to get Joe Rogan to join 60 Minutes. And I'm like, for what? That man don't know nothing about politics. He sounds like a complete idiot whenever he's on his own podcast. And people will just sit there and listen to him because I guess, you've had too many creatine shakes and you're injecting testosterone in your brain. People, I guess, think that whatever he says and it sounds right, they're going to go along with it. So now they just want to make America even more dumber by putting some of the most moronic people on their show and continue to destroy the legacy that CBS was in 60 Minutes. So now they're doing that. And now Peter Attia had to step down because all the Epstein stuff that's coming out, now he wants to leave. But I'm like, y'all were well aware of who this man was beforehand. So I just want to know if James Cameron going to call out all the things instead of saying this is going to be a bad idea with Netflix, because Netflix doesn't own any other studio. Netflix is its own entity. So with them owning Warner Brothers could still do what they're doing where they release movies on the 43, 45 days or whatever the case is. And Netflix will continue to do their own thing. But Netflix also said that they're planning on doing theatrical releases for their movies. That is yet to be seen. But I don't see why with certain films they don't release some of them in theaters. I mean, they should. And look, the people don't have to lose jobs over there at Warner Brothers should Netflix acquire them or when Netflix acquires them. But you're not thinking about all that. I don't know what his whole point of this was. So he said, so the next question, Mr. Cameron, will be this. And this is what he wrote on Threads. Are you also against the monopolization that a Paramount acquisition would create? Or is it just that of Netflix? I think the answer would be very interesting for the film community to hear, and one that should be asked immediately. Is Mike Lee against the Paramount sale as well? Is he as concerned about that as he is with Netflix's sale? We all want to know, speaking on behalf of the hundreds of thousands of filmmakers worldwide. Now, in his letter to Representative Mike Lee, Cameron claimed that Ted Sarando's goals for Netflix are directly opposed to the health of the cinema marketplace, saying, I am but a humble movie farmer, and I see my future creativity and production directly threatened by this proposal. First of all, you don't do any movies with Warner Brothers. You're at Disney. I mean, Avatar is done by Disney, and you're trying to make like 800 of those fucking movies. So why do you even care about Warner Brothers? It's not like you're in business with them. I'm sure there are many in the motion picture community, writers, producers, directors, exhibitors, craft guilds, film crew, employees, and service providers who agree with me. Many will choose not to be as vocal as I am because Netflix is a major employer in the foreseeable future. Well, yeah, everything is moving digital. Everything is moving into consuming products online. Less and less people are going to the movies unless it's sort of like event viewing, like Scream 7 coming out this week. That's going to be something that a lot of people will want to go to the movies and see because it's a slasher film, it's an event film. People want to be a part of the conversation. They want to be able to find out, even though it's already been spoiled on social media, who the killers are killer or are in this new movie. So there's certain films that people want to be. Avengers Doomsday will be another one people want to go to the movies to see because of that sort of thing. So everybody's not really going to the cinema like you think. He said, but I know I speak for many as vast groundswell. In fact, I hope you will consider my concerns as you further investigate this proposed transaction. So Sarandos has issued a rebuttal claiming that Cameron's letter knowingly misrepresents our position and commitment to the theatrical release of Warner Brothers films. And so, yeah, we're still waiting for that deal to go through or whatever the case is, but Paramount's still talking about that they're looking to give a different offer. We'll find out what that is. I don't know if everything has come out yet because I haven't been on social media to check, but possibly by tomorrow, maybe we'll hear something. So yeah, he said, I respect Mr. Cameron enormously and I love his work. This is what he told Senator Mike Lee in a letter refuting the Titanic director's claims that the Netflix's $83 billion acquisition of most of Warner Brothers' Discovery would be disastrous for the theatrical motion picture business and result in big job and soft power losses. But his letter to you knowingly misrepresents our position and commitment to the theatrical release of Warner Brothers films. Cutting to the chase with MAGA loyalist Lee, so that's it all. And it's funny how it all roads lead to Trump for some godforsaken reason. But when you point this out, they want to call you crazy, whatever the case is. Like, I'm presenting you with facts and evidence, which clearly is something that maggots are allergic to. Sarandos reiterated his firm commitment to strong showing for Warner Brothers and cinemas if the streamer beats back David Ellison and Paramount's $108 billion hostile takeover bid. DC Power plays, hello MAGA, and lawsuits. I also said the same thing to Mr. Cameron when we met on December 20th, 2025, shortly after we announced our agreement to acquire Warner Brothers. Then pitchman Supreme Sarandos, who has been on a media tour that would put master marketers like Dwayne Johnson or Taylor Swift to shame, pulled back the curtain on his meetup with Cameron, saying during that meeting, we talked about Netflix's plans for Warner Brothers, including our 45-day commitment. Mr. Cameron was very supportive. If anything, he was more excited to talk about the at-home movie viewing glasses he is developing with Meta than exclusive windows for theatrical movies. Because one thing we've always known about James Cameron, even before tech became what it is today, that James Cameron's always been interested in creating groundbreaking technology and trying to marry it with movie making. Hence why when you see I would say even maybe in the original Terminator, but Terminator 2 and so many other films that he's done, you really seen him always push the boundaries of tech, even more so with Avatar. But now Avatar's tech looks outdated compared to when the first movie came out a while ago. When you look at the new one, it's kind of like you ain't really bringing nothing new and inventive to the whole thing. Now you out here trying to sell some new damn glasses that you trying to merge with Meta, or you in business with them. So now, while insisting that Netflix was suggesting a slim 17-day exhibition window, which was the original rumor that was going around before we started to understand really what was going on regarding this whole, the merger of Warner Brothers and Netflix, you're saying never we say 17 days, because that's initially, I believe, what it was when it came down to Netflix putting their movies in theaters just so that way they can get possible Oscar nominations. Because I think like Frankenstein and a couple of other films they've done in the past, like the what is the other one? The one with Daniel Craig where he plays the private investigator. So that those movies those get like 17-day windows. So yeah, they said while insisting that Netflix was suggesting a slim 17-day exhibition window, let's just say like the fact Cameron's next movie is from Paramount, the Oscar winner didn't bring those glasses up in his February 10th letter to Lee ripping the Netflix Warner Brothers merger. As it stands now, Sarandos is sent to respond next week to follow up questions. That would be this week because the story came out last week. Up questions from the Lee chaired Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Antitrust. Until then, I have the full article, the full Ted Sarandos Mike Lee response from Netflix. If y'all want to go over to my website and check that out, y'all can. But yeah, good on you, Mark Ruffalo, for speaking out and on behalf of actual actors and stuff, because James Cameron, I've heard many stories about him being a little aggressive and intense and problematic in some of the things he says and his opinion on stuff. Great filmmaker, but I've heard like the personality could use some work. And shout out to Mark Ruffalo yet again for speaking out against for so many things. He speaks out again, the whole thing regarding Renee Good. It wasn't just, in the oh, damn, I forgot the other guy who the nurse that was unalived for no damn reason, but he was helping a woman that ICE was beating up on or picking up on because I guess they didn't have their wives, to beat up on in the house, so they got to pick on other people. So he's always been on the right side of history. He's always spoken up against people who've been, you know, knocked down and picked on, all this stuff. So I love that he is the voice for the voiceless, and we need more people in this industry that got balls like him, because clearly he's got bigger balls than a lot of y'all faves out here in these streets who refuse to speak out on the atrocities that's been going on. Especially when it was going after a lot of these actors who was on that press thing with, what was it, like the Berlin Film Festival or something or another, and people was bringing up questions to ask them. They asked Channing Tatum, they asked Ethan Hawke, and all of a sudden everybody got, you know, lost their voice, or they couldn't think of nothing, or you know how these actors are. Nobody wants to rock the boat because they want to keep their jobs and they don't want it to affect their cash flow. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Um. Okay, so it's freezing. Hold on, I might have to do that thing again where I gotta go out and come back in. Bear with me, because it's like it seems like this be doing this every time with the show. So yeah, I'll probably have to exit and come back. She back. Excuse me. I was like, what's going on? Why is this thing messing up? So now I gotta because Eric Dane is the next story. So let me put that picture in before we get to that topic. And let me see if am I freezing or no? Oh, we good with the situation because I'm not on it anymore. It's like whenever I go to read the article or whatever the case is, that's when it starts freezing up, and I'm looking at an article as we speak. Now I'm back, so let me know if it was working the whole time, and then we can get it going. Because that's what seemed like it's going to have to keep happening with this situation. That every time I be doing stuff, it be some situation. Why would folks go see Frankenstein though when they could see it? Well, because it came out first in the theater before it went on. I guess because they wanted to get it nominated for an Oscar. And you already know, like when it comes to the Oscars are snobs where they don't want necessarily, excuse me, the movie. We're not going to nominate something that's straight to streaming or straight, yeah, that sort of thing. So for now, the Netflix kind of sort of has to play the game, and if they want to get, it's the same thing with that movie that came out. What was the name of it? The trans movie that came out last year that Zoe Saldana won the Oscar for, that horrible ass movie. That was the same thing they did with that. He said, "What did you think of that one queen from Singapore making a video on the 7 levels of?" Oh, I just love the reads because you know exactly who I be talking. I mean, I be knowing exactly who you're referring to. First of all, I don't watch her. Um, I don't even know. I didn't even know that story came out. Maybe they know I be talking about them and they ban me, or they don't show up in the algorithm. But yeah, they don't. I didn't see some 7 levels of a pop boy. Oh, so now you trying to do that because you're dealing with girls? Just sort of after story. Thank goodness Michael B. Jordan ain't my man right now because I'd be sitting in an English. You ready to fight? It could be because I do put a lot of pictures or whatever in here, and I don't know what's going on with that. But I just had to delete a lot of storage from earlier because I was almost at like they want you to pay a lot more money the more storage that you use, but thank goodness a lot of the lives and everything is up on the YouTube, all the old stuff. But then by that time the storage is old. I don't think people go back and watch the live streams. But if I go and I edit clips or whatever, y'all tend to watch that more than you watch the live. Well, the live show was the live show. People gonna watch that in real time. But the clips and stuff, people will catch that down the road and they'll come back and they'll watch it and they'll comment. Well, I probably got to get an external storage drive because I'm like, that shit is annoying. All right, so now let's move on to our next topic. And let's talk about Eric Dane. So, there seems to be this ongoing trend that's been going on where y'all have been noticing that we've been getting a lot of celebrities who have been sick or passing away and that sort of thing. And with that comes a lot of GoFundMes. And I've been seeing a lot of people making comments, making negative things, saying like, well, why are people giving money to these celebrities? They're rich. They should be able to have this, that, and the other. And it's like, at the end of the day, you really don't know what people have in their wallets. Yes, back in the day when the money was flowing and things was good in like the 90s and the 2000s, money was always at everybody's disposal. You could never make enough money. But now the times have changed. People are not really like it, like, especially if you want to talk about syndication and that sort of thing, people really aren't making money like they used to. So we never know what they're going through with it. And then on top of that, where it comes down to medical expenses, and especially if you're in the United States of America and you already know that our healthcare system is one big scam versus when you go to other countries and you don't have to pay out of your pocket for healthcare or to even live. Or basically, if you're sick and you have cancer, you need chemo treatment, whatever the case is, you don't have to come because your insurance don't want to basically cover everything. So now people have to come out of pocket and damn near go bankrupt just so that way they can stay alive. So why am I have to pay to stay alive? When that should be a luxury, a privilege, just something that is automatically comes with being raised in America, that I shouldn't have to fight and spend thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm not just talking about rich people, I'm talking about regular people too. That what makes you think these rich people have that money? And eventually when you're doing that care, you don't have anything coming in because you're not working. That also takes a toll on your money. When things deplete and you don't have anything to come in to keep that money flowing, people don't think about all of that. So in the wake of Eric Dane's death on February 19th, there's been an outpouring of tributes from friends and co-stars and also generous donations to a GoFundMe campaign built to raise funds for his teenage daughters. Now the fundraiser is under review. And sidebar, I will say this. Rebecca Gayheart is an actress. Why is she not working? I mean, I'm not saying that you ever going to have a career like, say, Reese Witherspoon or whatever the case is, but there's plenty of streaming things or whatever the case is. I don't know if maybe she retired because she's raising her daughters, but at a certain point, Miss Mama, if you still got your SAG card and you still paying dues, get up off your ass and work so that when you have something coming in. Because Eric Dane died. Rebecca didn't. So now the campaign titled In the Honor of Eric Dane was organized by a group calling itself Friends of the Dane Family and bills itself as a fundraiser created to support his girls and their future needs. Its stated goal is to raise $500,000 for his daughters Billy, 15, and Georgia, 14. As of Sunday, nearly $300,000 has been raised from around 2,700 donors. And I also heard that Hailey Bieber donated some money. I think she donated 25 grand. So they said the company confirmed that the campaign has been reviewed. Our trust and safety team is still looking into this GoFundMe and has reached out to the organizer to gather additional information, a spokesperson said in a statement of the Chronicle. All funds are being safely held by our payment processors during the review process. We can follow up as soon as there is an update available. The focus of the review is scrutiny over the organizer. The campaign doesn't include a specific individual tied to the fundraiser, nor has GoFundMe confirmed that proceeds would benefit Dane's family. Reps for the Dane family have not publicly commented on the campaign. So One individual, Mike McGinnis, said he was Dane's friend for almost 20 years and provided a link to the GoFundMe in his Instagram story. According to the Chronicle, he said, COVID and ALS did a number on his work life, and he sadly couldn't leave his family with the resources he had hoped. A GoFundMe is being made, and I will post it on my story for anyone able to help. As of Sunday, the verbiage has since been deleted. His name does not appear on the GoFundMe campaign, and the company has not confirmed his involvement. So that's what's like, a lot of times when you have people creating things, you never know exactly who this is that's sending this money or necessarily where this money is going to. So you have to be aware of, just because the GoFundMe popped up and a celebrity is asking for the money, a lot of people have to just really be careful of who they send any money to. As in, do your research. Because I found out, because then I heard later on that they checked it out. It was legit. The money actually is back, and the Danes are able to have access to the money. But just in the future, just make sure that you have people up in here that's not necessarily taking advantage of y'all, because there are plenty of scam artists. When you want to find the goodness in your heart and want to help people out, there's people out here that's scamming, and you got to just be aware of the scammers when it comes to this whole situation. So good on GoFundMe for doing their job and covering their butt, but you just have to be aware of that whole situation. Now, Erika's not the only one out here with a GoFundMe. Miss J also had to get set up a GoFundMe, because y'all know that Miss J was going through it. She had a stroke, which left her partially paralyzed, where they couldn't walk or talk. Now we've seen that years later, since that whole situation, Miss J has been much better, but they're going to have to require round-the-clock care for, I don't know, it could be for the rest of their life, or it just could be for until further notice. But for now, we'll just say for the rest of their life. So they need round-the-clock care, and they had to set up a GoFundMe for Miss J to be able to get the help that they need. And so I know a lot of people, because I was like, how much is Miss J's net worth? Hold on, let me look that up. I mean, even though it's not entirely accurate. God damn. Child, they said 500,000. Your net worth is $500,000? Oh, that's not good. Because you would think somebody of Miss J's caliber would have way more money at their disposal, especially working in the fashion industry and top model and all that other stuff. But times is hard. And just because people out here give the illusion that they're rich because y'all see these people on TV, don't necessarily mean that they rolling like that. So several of Ms. J's friends have organized a GoFundMe on his behalf following the recent reveal of his 2022 stroke, saying, quote, "For years, the incomparable Ms. J. Alexander brought grace, humor, and unforgettable style into our homes as a beloved coach and judge on America's Next Top Model. Known for their warmth, wit, and dedication to uplifting others, Ms. J has been a guiding light to models and fans around the world." This is what the GoFundMe page reads. "Today, Ms. J needs our support." The post continues, "As the public now knows, on December 27, 2022, Ms. J suffered a debilitating stroke and was found unresponsive in his apartment by his niece. After spending 5 weeks in a coma, Ms. J was left unable to walk or speak. He spent almost a year and a half in a rehabilitation center without much use of his body or his voice. This time span included additional mini strokes, seizures, and 4 additional hospitalizations. The page, which was created on Friday, February 20th, states that while privately recovering from the stroke for the past 3 years, Ms. J has been bravely fighting, but struggling to live independently. Amid Ms. J's recovery, he is looking to secure full-time round-the-clock care and help with the ongoing regular physical, speech, and occupational therapies. He is currently confined to a wheelchair stemming from what we hope is only temporary paralysis, and his right arm remains immobile. While he has shown incredible strength and resilience against all odds, the financial burden of ongoing treatment, specialized care, and daily living support is beyond overwhelming. The fundraiser was created with the purpose of helping Ms. J with his mounting bills and medical expenses. The amount raised will go toward rehabilitation services, in-home care, medical bills, and essential living costs incurred on this long road to recovery. If Miss J's kindness, humor, and iconic presence have ever made you smile or laugh, please consider giving back during this difficult time. And if you're unable to donate, sharing this page with your community is another powerful way to help. Well, that's why I'm doing it, because I want y'all to know about what's going on with Miss J. So they said the GoFundMe has a goal of 100,000 and has received about $554. That's it in donations at the time of the writing. Hold on, let me see if there's a link where it says how much it is so far. Okay, so 50,000 to as of now. There's been 560. Hold on, let me actually share with y'all the page. I should do that so that way y'all can see it. Okay, so we have support Miss J Alexander, the GoFundMe, where it says support Miss J Alexander's Road to Recovery. That if y'all want to go over there and do that. So far raised $18,693 of $50,000. So they're trying to get $50,000. This is how much they raised so far. And wait, hold on, that was the wrong button, chair. It's this one. I'll just leave it there because I was trying to find another way to do it. But anyway, we already know like the story that he has spoken of regarding the whole situation, but also have they aired the full episode of the Jays and Nigel Barker on Sherry Shepherd? Because I haven't seen the full episode yet. I know there's been little clips online and this, that, and the other regarding that, but I definitely want to see the full interview, and then I'll just react to it in the next episode. But I don't know. I just feel like regarding the whole situation, it's like, and then he talks about like Tyra hasn't come to visit him. She sent him a little text or whatever the case is. And it's just like, why would you expect someone like Tyra to come see you? But then I don't feel like we should all just go at Tyra like it's all her fault. They were all equal participants in the circus. The Jays and Nigel and Janice and Tyra and Ken Mock and all of them. And it's like, yeah, the buck stops at the top. Tyra's name was on the marquee. She was an executive producer. She owned 25% of America's Next Top Model. So therefore, her and Ken Mock do take a bulk of the blame. But I also think that we should be holding everybody accountable. And it seemed like so far that they've been going on this little press tour because they didn't come across in the best light in regard, or that people feel like that the Jays and Nigel didn't really take enough responsibility for a lot of what was going on the show. Because it's true. It's like the Times was what the Times was back then, but also we should acknowledge that y'all should have been protecting a lot of these talents. It's like, yeah, I signed up for the show because I wanted to be on TV and I wanted to be famous, but I also wanted to be successful as a model. But I did not sign up to be exploited. I did not sign up for you to take advantage of me and to mentally and physically and emotionally abuse me for the entertainment of executives, board members, and people watching at home, where we didn't know no better because we was liking all the salaciousness, from the messiness that was going on Fear Factor to Survivor to the Real World and the Road Rules and the Challenge and America's Next Top Model. So shout out to Miss J. Hopefully she gets she meets her goal. And Miss J was definitely one of my faves on that show because they were messy. I wouldn't say that Miss J was as bad as some of the other people, but she was a shady queen. And that's what shady queens do. They be shady. Shady. Now, Prince, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and he was saying, like, you know what? And I said the same thing before we had this conversation. He said Drag Race is next in regards of when y'all gonna be talking about that show and all the stuff. And he said, who gonna produce it? And I said, Willem. We both, because we was here with the conversation. And I do believe that. I was like, yeah, I could definitely see Willem producing a show about like exposing Drag Race. That'll really get RuPaul's craw. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding, Jay Alexander and the whole GoFundMe situation and the previous GoFundMe that we talked about with Eric Dane, and the idea of like, yeah, it's the real conversation that we need to be having, besides the fact that celebrities are creating GoFundMes, is that our system, especially the healthcare system, is broken. And in the future, any politician that wants to run for president, whatever the case is, Are you for us or are you for the oligarchs and the healthcare system? Because we need to be demanding universal healthcare. And it's not a thing of like, well, we shouldn't have to pay for that. Why are we always just like okay with you got to pay for every little thing that we get? Like paying for it makes it better or whatever the case is. The fact of the matter is when it comes to your health, you shouldn't have to damn near go bankrupt to survive and to live. So yeah, our healthcare system is a mess, and we need to acknowledge that, and that needs to definitely be the center of the conversation. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, let's see. You say you recommend a terror driver. So we know these celebs have good life insurance. You said the dumbing down is real with it. Well, look, aren't you as a farmer? Isn't your farm suffering right now? So maybe you need to concern yourself with that. I have no idea. I don't live there. So if I don't live in Kansas or Nebraska, I could give a fuck about what's going on out there. Maybe you need to concern yourself with that. Maybe it was the illusion of upper class, or it could be the fact that they wasn't really out here reserving their money. GoFund verifies people posting for donations. Okay. So I don't. So then, if they verify it? I wonder what if they verify it, then why would they put it on hold? Maybe it was the wording or whatever the case is. Or, sometimes even when it's verified, they got to double check. So something wasn't right in what was posted. Yeah, I doubt it too. I'm well aware what the person is. We know that Miss J is a whole dude. Thank you for stating the obvious. Don't you love when dumbasses come up in here and want to state the obvious? It's like, Jesus Christ. There was a recent poll, and I was like, we really need a poll for this, that said that people who are not MAGA are way smarter. I'm like, we all know this. People who go in the cults, people who get in that sort of thing. We know y'all are stupid. I mean, we didn't need a poll for that. Anna Nicole was problematic as hell. Many people in reality were. Well, Bam Margera was he a junkie too? I can already see it. I don't think Willem would do it though. Jeremy Carey, formerly known as Fifi, would. She definitely has some stories to tell. I really have to look into in the future that the only people that can comment on here are people who are subscribers to the channel. So I definitely got to figure out how to make that work because if you're not a subscriber, we don't care about what y'all opinions are. If it's gonna be negative, you said who would have guessed Jessica Simpson would become a goat? Is she? Oh yeah, that did shock the hell out of me when she came out with those. And the drag queens like her shoes. Tyra never crossed the line because UPN wasn't allowed to cross the lines the way VH1 was. We talking about she never crossed the line. She crossed plenty of lines with that show when it was on VH1. I know it's like some people were smart with the way they well, what was it? Oh, yeah. I gotta look into that and how to make moderators for the show. I gotta start looking into all of that stuff. What? I gotta stop reading comments too, because I was reading somebody comments on something they just sent me. But anyway, let's move on. But it's really about to piss some of y'all off, but you know me, I don't give a fuck. Let's talk about this trashy ass bitch. So apparently she's out here on her little MAGA grift, and she's being exposed by Politico. So her high profile embrace of the MAGA movement is now facing scrutiny after a new report claims a coordinated bot network helped amplify her political posts online. Because we already know it ain't just getting out there by itself. So now she's using bots to push her ridiculous agenda. And now you've been exposed. So let's get into the political article. So now Nicki Minaj spent the past year transforming herself from a polarizing rap superstar, well, we should call her washed up too, into a high-profile conservative provocateur, lobbying viral attacks at Democratic leaders, boosting MAGA talking points, and earning public praise from the fat fuck in the White House and his allies. Now, on social media, Minaj's pugnacious persona and sharp-edged posts, including repeated broadsides against not former yet, California Governor Gavin Newsom, have made her and I don't like him either. Now, made her a darling for the Trump regime. It's not an administration, and the conservative movement, drawing millions of viewers and steady amplification from far-right influencers. But quietly humming in the background of her varied social media blitzes, a sophisticated army of bots was unconditionally praising and amplifying Minaj's content, according to a new report shared exclusively with Politico. The report, compiled by the disinformation detection company Cyabra, identifies a coordinated network of bots, more than 18,000 of them, that drove algorithms to spread Minaj's post on Twitter. Well, of course, look who's running it. Now, the analysis, which looked at social media activity from November 11th to December 28th, provides a window into how the rapper was able to capture millions of views online and position herself as a celebrity the White House found valuable in partnering with. You mean another coon that can tap dance there and spew their lies and their vitriol and their bullshit when they couldn't name not one goddamn song from her. Last month, Minaj, and let's also not forget, we have a president who couldn't tell the difference between Nicki Minaj and Nicki Jam. So, but he your favorite president. Okay. Minaj pointed the president at the Trump account summit, where Trump invited her on stage, showering her with praise, and recorded a chummy TikTok video with her afterward, saying, "We don't really see a lot of high volume, high impact orchestration of bad and fake actors within that intersection of the geopolitically driven and music culture." This is according to Dan Brammy, the CEO and founder of Cyabra. It is scarce in our field to see the combination of the bad and the fake online world with the entertainment world. The report found inauthentic accounts repeatedly amplified Minaj's posts with praise that used highly similar language, particularly in response to posts where authentic accounts were criticizing Minaj. Supportive comments generated by fake profiles were predominantly brief, repetitive, and low in semantic complexity, insisting largely of praising keywords and positive hashtags rather than original or substantive engagement. So I wonder if these are the same type of bots that was up in there pretending that they was watching that Tapussy halftime event where y'all was trying to beat Bad Bunny numbers and we all knew you couldn't. So now, other inauthentic activities surrounding Minaj included longer, more detailed comments designed to appear organic, saying, "Nicki, you are brave for living your truth. People might not always agree with what's being played out, but as an artist and watching your growth as a person is inspiring." I wonder if any of this, a lot of those bosses from Sri Lanka and India, because there'd be a lot of them that they'll be paying little rupees to, where they just be saying all this shit for a little, just a little coin totter. So they said, read one comment from a purported Minaj fan, LAX7. Okay, there's a bunch of numbers in there. Like, nobody's name is, who goes by LAX7628365? Like, who's calling themselves that? That sounds like a damn barcode. That don't even sound like a real name. So yeah, it was deemed fake by Cyabra. Now, this pattern suggests a deliberate attempt to integrate into genuine conversations, increasing the credibility and visibility of the amplified content. Cyabra identified one day, December 26, when fake profiles made up 56% of all comments on political posts made by Minaj. Now, bot networks have become a familiar feature of modern politics since revelations of Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election, when coordinated inauthentic accounts were used to inflame divisions and manipulate online discourse. Such campaigns are now routinely detected around wars, elections, and geopolitical flashpoints, but far less often around celebrities or the music industry. The backdrop helps explain why Cyber's findings seem so peculiar. Rather than a short-lived spike tied to a single event or appearance, the company found sustained and coordinated amplification of Minaj's posts across a range of political and cultural topics over time. When Minaj posted about her support for Trump, her concern over the prosecution of Christians in Nigeria, and Newsom's perceived alignment with the trans community, the bots were there to back her up. Cyber's report shows. They also amplified her posts related to the music industry. Reps of Minaj did not respond to requests for comment. Well, y'all want her to go on a 72-hour tirade with no sleep? It's best if she don't say nothing about this. Now, Alex Bruesewitz, a media and political advisor to Trump, who considers Minaj a very close friend, who you just met not too long ago, but now y'all are close friends, fuck out of here. Told Political he has, and I would say Gunn ahead, name a song, don't even look it up on Google. Told Political he is confident there are no bots involved with the rapper's social media presence, saying Nicki has never used bot activity to promote herself on social media because she doesn't need to. Well, we all know that's a lie. She is not one of the largest fan bases of any musician that's alive today. That's not necessarily true, because a friend of mine, we weren't even talking about this conversation because this was new to me when I came up today, and he was pointing out we were going through the list of celebrities like Beyonce and Cardi B and so many others who have a bigger fan base than she does. So she's not necessarily out here rolling with, the biggest fan base. So for y'all to sit up here and spew that lie, that's BS. There's way more, but they also said that Cyber has about 85% confident that more than 18,000 profiles identified are fake. But if the company were to narrow that scope to profiles that exhibit even stronger signs of inauthenticity, the confidence level would easily rise into the 90s. Saying we always have to make sure that we play at a confidence level that's strong enough for people to rely on it and doesn't really change the narrative. So they also pointed out there, they said when the conversation is limited to toxic content, a substantially stronger amplification effect emerges. The report found these accounts predominantly amplify content produced by Nicki and Turning Point USA, indicated a notable overlap between the two within its discourse. Several of the accounts involved have previously been identified as exhibiting fake campaign-like behavior in the context of Minaj's online activity within the relating to the music industry. And it's funny how I mentioned to pussy, to Turning Point USA for short. It's funny how I mentioned that, and then they're brought up in the conversation in regards to the whole bot thing, which is like I said, they probably use, I believe they use bots during that whole Kid Rock, county fair performance that they try to pass off as a Super Bowl halftime, anti-Super Bowl halftime situation. But Nicki ain't the only one that's when we were talking about that guy that's a close friend of Minaj's who is came to her defense. Well, let's get into this story because Cardi B has been dragged into the conversation, and she had to get up online and let y'all know, keep my name out your mouth. Because now they're trying to say that she had something to do with the whole bot thing. Mind you, this lady is on tour right now with all four of her damn kids, selling out and making history. She sold out 2 nights at the Kia Forum. She didn't have to waddle things down and black out seats and all the other stuff like some of y'all other faves do. And yeah, she may not be the best in regards of like how she performing on stage, but at least she's giving 110% and she's present. I told y'all I worked Nicki's Pink Friday 2 tour, and that bitch cannot perform live to save her damn life. She was a mess. And the way they was orchestrating the whole show and trying to get things going in regards to the flow was off too. And so here's what she said on this, because she had to go in and let have on Trump advisor Alex Brucewitz's little comment. So she's threatening legal action against him and the advisor to the president after he alleged that she has ties to a company linked to claims about a bot campaign involving fellow artist and rival Nicki Minaj. The Bronx rapper lit up Twitter after Alex Bruesewitz claimed she was somehow tied to a report. That's the report that I literally just went through from Politico, which was Ciabra. She's now being linked to him, saying it had something to do with her. It's like, I don't got time to be sitting up here punching the air and going on little tweet campaigns and doing shady shit for what? Like, I'm actually on tour making money. It's successful and I'm winning. I don't got time to deal with this bitch or worry about her. But of course, y'all can't keep Cardi name out your damn mouth. So now, yeah, the report published by Sabre suggested coordinated online activity amplified Minaj's messaging. Bruesewitz alleged that journalist Jason Bieferman, who shared the findings, is partnered with Cardi B's agent and labeled him a fake news hack. Why do y'all always use the same tired-ass talking points as this president? Have y'all noticed they all sound alike when they talk? You're a hack. You have no talent. It's like it's always projection because a lot of y'all are hacks and don't have talent and aren't good at the job that you've been appointed to because you're more or less appointed to being a loyalist than an actual person with an actual talent. So he said this story is 100% BS. At Nicki Minaj, the most popular female rapper of all time. Okay, y'all really stretching it with that because the industry don't fuck with her. A lot of her fans, once she went MAGA, they've abandoned her. And I know for a fact because I have a lot of friends who are barbs, hardcore barbs, the ones that really just like move the goalposts whenever that lady did something. She couldn't do no wrong. But the minute she started going MAGA and started going in against the queer community, which she benefits wholeheartedly from, and I do believe that she purposely sought out the queer community because she knew that the gay community was going to be the most loyal. But she ain't really fuck with y'all at the end of the day. It was a strategic move on her part. Where they told her, well, if you wear all the little fancy clothes and you come out looking like a little drag queen with your outfits and your wigs and all that other stuff, that if you pander to that community, at the end of the day, they'll be loyal, they'll be caught up in the cult. Well, guess what? They stopped drinking the Jim Jones Kool-Aid and they wised up. Most of them, not all of them. There's still a few of y'all that literally will jump off a cliff for that lady and she'll sit there and watch all of y'all take that tumble. Now, he went and said Politico's Jason Bieferman is also a fake news hack who fails to disclose that the company that conducted the report, Cybera, I think it was, but he's saying it wrong. He said Cybera, it's Ciabra. Can't even get the name right. Like, if you want to try to read somebody, at least make sure that your spellation is on point. So yeah, he said they're partnered with Cardi B's agent. I was introduced to still spelled it wrong, Cybara, a few months ago by this agent, who, by the way, is a nice guy. Why does it sound like Trump wrote this? Because it was, who, by the way, is a nice guy. Like, it's always that condescending shit, but then they get to the shade or the attempt at it. But that is a major detail to leave out. I even had dinner with the co-founders of the company and they offered to do a couple of tests for me. I like them personally, but found their tools to be significantly unreliable and their data to be almost worthless. I believe Elon Musk also has them working at X, but got rid of them. I mean, Twitter, because that's what it is. But it was Twitter that started posting a lot of this stuff, so whatever. So now you want to drag Elon into it? So now it's incredibly unethical and inappropriate that Bieferman failed to disclose the relationship given the very public disputes in the music industry. And so Cardi came back and said this. First, please show me where I'm affiliated with this person or they affiliate to anybody that I work with. I don't have no affiliation to Roc Nation, you dumbass. Second, the conspiracy theories with Roc Nation is getting very ridiculous. Y'all started to act like they the Russians or something. The fact that you work for the government and defaming my name with false allegations, I'm going to fucking sue you. Get familiar with my game. So, and here's the thing. If she was able to take Trashy K down and she's still waiting for that money, because Magilla Gorilla don't have it. What makes you think that you're going to get away with this shit too? Like, I'll take your ass to court. Don't play with me. So, of course, he didn't back down. And then after she posted her post, he claimed she immediately deleted her threat after I provided facts with that her rep is, in fact, involved with the company that produced the bot hoax. He said, you don't have to delete it, but she's still firm. And she said the Ciabra data is real, but unrelated to her. Then she added, see what happened when you involve me in shit that don't have nothing to do with me. I get down to the gristle of it. And by the way, I'm still going to sue you, you wet, dirty dog. But let me read the whole thing. So she said, listen, you involve me in something that has nothing to do with me. So now we're going to talk about the facts. Cyabra is a data company with a lot of investors like McG, customers like Elon Musk and Pepsi. They use that company for data and even has Mike Pompeo on the board of advisors. So what you need to focus on is the fact that data is very real and leave me out of your bullshit. I do not have anything to do with that, and I don't give a fuck. Now lie and say that's not true. See what happened when you involve me in shit that don't have nothing to do with me? I get down to the gristle of it. And by the way, I'm still gonna sue you, wet, dirty dog. So that was a comment on that. And then he started bringing up something about Kamala Harris, surrogate and rapper I Am Cardi B, who recently threatened to physically assault ICE officers. Well, we're not even going to get into that because we all know what that was. It's like ICE been around here harassing people and causing all kinds of, not even harassing, but also taking people's lives. And it's not just the two that we know about, Renee Good and the other one. There was another kid. There was a kid that I believe a year ago, almost a year ago, was, and I don't remember his name because I've been posting a lot of stuff on social media because it's in my it's in my post. But there was a young kid that was American citizen that was pow by ICE. So we're gonna talk about threats. What are they out here actually doing to people? So that's not I'm going to go, but I'll tell you, these people give me a migraine. Y'all are insufferable. The fact that y'all are chaos demons, y'all like keeping all this drama going just to get people riled up. And I'm going to keep using my show and my voice to speak out on the things that's going on because people need to be aware of it because the media don't want to do its goddamn job. So some of us have to step in and do it. But it's like, yeah, what would Cardi B gain from putting out a post exposing Nicki Minaj for being not the brightest tool in the shed? Like, we can listen to her and see she ain't bright. So we don't need a poll regarding with from Politico, or I guess you do need it because some of y'all apparently don't hear it when people try to present stuff to y'all. Sometimes you need hardcore evidence, but even with hardcore evidence, when you bring the people and show people the fakeness and the bots and all other stuff and how it's all a grift at the end of the day, this whole entire regime is all about grifting and robbing their own supporters, which he did do the night before his inauguration with that fake bullshit meme coin. So, and Melania too. So it's like when we point out these things, how they constantly just sit out here ripping everybody off, including their own supporters, they just sit there and take it. I didn't know y'all like taking shit up so rough up y'all asses without lube. But y'all be hating on the gays though. So anyway, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of all of this mess? I mean, are y'all surprised by that the fact that, you know, there's people out here using bot farms to spew lies and misinformation and all this other stuff? And of course, with people being online so much and caught up in the matrix of social media, they get indoctrinated with all of it and radicalized. So, I mean, do we need to talk about like how the fact that they just had a story come out? And I don't know if the regular media has talked about this. There was a Trump supporter. Yes, he wasn't QAnon and all this other bullshit that y'all like to say, or a radical left person that they come up with. This was an actual supporter of that man who went inside Mar-a-Lago with a shotgun looking for that man that's fucking up the White House, and Secret Service took his life. Look it up. It's out there. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, that's why I was trying to. I got to look into it, see how I could do the whole, how I can put it into the script. I have to look into it. He said, let subscribers comment if a member for over 24 hours. Yeah, but I'm like trying to see if there's something on here that allows me to put that on. But I don't. I have to look into that and see how I could just put it on there because I noticed like Funky Dineva does it because he got tired of people in the comments with the bullshit. And he was like, "No, I'm just gonna put it on subscribers only." Half the web is bot, including YouTube. Oh, not Chatterbait, child. Yeah, a lot of it is bots though. He said half the web is bot, including YouTube. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bots is crazy. A lot of these bots come with generated money as well. They are being used as weapons against humans. It's Terminator for real. She is openly MAGA. Don't fool yourself. Yeah, we know that Nicki is. Confession, I haven't listened to Nicki in 2 months, literally, but I almost relapsed when I found out the Up Out of My Face remix is available on Apple Music. Wait, what's Up Out of My Face? Who had that song? Why that sound familiar? If you have an Amazon Fire Stick, they just made a huge update. The display interface is totally different. I don't have an Amazon Fire Stick. I need to get one though, because you know what? I'm tired of paying all this. Maybe I shouldn't say it live online. I'm tired of paying for all these damn streaming services. I need to get me an Amazon Fire Stick. Speaking of which, have y'all watched A Night of the Nine Kingdoms? Yeah, it's now called the Night of the Nine Kingdoms. Because you watched last night's episode, Egg had to let Dunk know, no, it's nine kingdoms, it's not seven, and he had to point it out. I have to say, this season was perfect. It was 6 episodes. I do feel like a lot of the episodes were kind of short, but overall, I feel like this is a really good season. I'm looking forward to season 2. And I didn't know this though. This was a shock to me. Um, if you go back and watch Game of Thrones, do you know they make reference to Sir Duncan or Sir Dunk or whatever in the like from the past and all other stuff, and I think they mention like what happens to him and those others. So he is connected to the world of obviously of Game of Thrones because I think it's what is it like 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones. So it lets in all that. But I was like, this is a great season. I love the dynamic between Dunk and Egg and finding out the twist about who he really was and why he's bald and all that other stuff. I was like, well, I'm looking forward to season 2. And now I wonder, are they gonna keep him bald or is they're gonna let his Targaryen hair come um hmm Oh yeah. Well, once upon a time, well, I'm no longer on TikTok. I got rid of them once the Ellisons decided to get their Zionist hands on it. I try not to use anything Amazon. Haven't even bought a movie or rented a movie in over a year. He didn't apologize because I read the statement and that was not an apology. If you think that's what an apology is, then you don't apologize often enough. And he said, whoever heard of the general public buying company returns the size of pallets Amazon has been partially built on for, well, look. And people like Dr. Evil, Jeff Bezos, because that's what he looked like, won't ever be held accountable for the mess. Because I don't even like if when this presidency is done and over with, the next president won't hold them accountable because we got weak ass politicians. One thing about Cardi is I love her mouth. She don't need no bots to drag away. Exactly. She's like, what I need to waste time on some damn bots for? I hope she does. It's not shit. We're not cracked. Okay, we are shattered. I remember the Seventh Kingdom 2 days ago. I mean, 2 decades ago. All right, y'all. So now we can get off that political stuff because that the political stuff is always like it gets emotionally draining a lot of times because just trying to navigate through the stupidity it's just a lot. Especially when you're an empath. So let's get into some lighter news. I guess I mean sorta, even though it's not light on her part because she get a divorce. Let's talk about Kandi Burruss. So Kandi Burruss apparently broke her silence yesterday when she appeared on Watch What Happens Live. I was like, child, why y'all still fucking with Andy Cohen? Because Andy Cohen Abel's racist and stuff too, like Jeff Lewis and Michael Rappaport, which they did a whole thing on with that whole conversation, which I thought was interesting. But excuse me. So yeah, wait, what are we talking about? I forgot that quick. Kandi Burruss. Okay, so Kandi Burruss went on Watch What Happens Live yesterday, and she spilled some tea on why her marriage, I guess, to that man, Todd Tucker, is now on the decline. So let's get into that story. So during an appearance On the episode, host Andy Cohen asked the Real Housewives of Atlanta alum, who's 49, about her decision to split from Tucker, who's 52, in November after 11 years of marriage. She said it happened in July, and July was when I was like, oh yeah, no, I can't do this no more. Was there a specific moment or thing that happened? Cohen pressed, and he's 57, by the way, looks every bit of it. Yeah, it was a specific situation that happened. I'm not talking about it on Watch What Happens. Well, maybe we need to refresh our memory because didn't Funky Dineva reveal that there was a woman by the name of Helen who apparently Todd was hunching while he was married to Kandi? And allegedly, Kandi went and, pulled up on the girl. So Todd was out here sticking his peen in other vaginas other than Kandi's. I mean, quiet as it's kept, the word on the street was that he and Kandi kind of had an open marriage. But if y'all had an open marriage, that's y'all business. And that's something that two consenting adults agreed on. And that was a thing that they spoke on and they were aware of. But when you bring other people into the situation, and I don't know about this broad, and you sneaking behind my back, that's when it's a problem. And I know this is what people say, well, this is why you shouldn't have open relationship because it opens a Pandora's box. That ain't got nothing to do with it. That's their situation. And he decided to be, not forthright in what was going on. And then it just did what it did. But if you are someone who's big on communication, you can make an open marriage work, which clearly he couldn't do because he didn't have the cojones to tell her, whatever, if he was catching feelings for some other girl, whatever the case is, allegedly. So, hold on, because I was like, where am I? Okay, so now they said she went on to open about the current status of her relationship with Tucker, with whom she shares son Ace and daughter Blaze 6. Well, Ace is 9 and Blaze is 6. Noting that sometimes our conversations can get a little intense while discussing divorce matters, Burruss said that the two are generally amicable. She said for the most part, even if we argue, we still try to be nice to each other. We're co-parenting. Last night we went to my son's basketball game, so we're just sitting right next to each other. I'm sure people was like, but I feel like once we're done with this, I really feel like we'll be able to be great co-parents because our ultimate goal is to make sure that all of our kids are happy and they don't feel the brunt of the drama. Now, Burruss further addressed speculation that Tucker's recent court filing regarding her prenuptial agreement, which viewers saw them create and sign in the 2014 spinoff series Kandi's Wedding. While there has been public speculation that Tucker was contesting the prenup, the reality star says that isn't the case. He actually isn't contesting. They threatened to contest it, she said. They said if we do not come to terms, that they feel that they may have to find a way to contest it. So I think that this is, there's a misunderstanding on the internet. We never actually had any conversations about it being anything other than that. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, well, I don't want people to feel like that I'm like, well, people feel the way because your lawyer put it in there. So it could be the fact that Kandi and Todd are trying to find an amicable way of having a divorce. But the problem is when you get these lawyers that are handling high profile celebrities, whether you're A-list, B-list, whatever the case is, these lawyers these days seem to want to have more of a moment than the celebrities do. So they start putting things out here to sensationalize the situation. And now those of us out here who are reporting the news, we're salivating over all of this like a dog on a bone. And we running with all this information. But I'm glad that Kandi came in and is, clearing up any misinformation that a lot of people have. But one of the things she probably got to keep on the leash is Mama Joyce. Because remember, there was a time where I think Mama Joyce was coming out of, what is that play that you're doing? And Juliet. She was coming out the building and TMZ was out there. That girl, I don't know her name, but I be hearing in the background. And she was trying to give Mama Joyce a tour. And Mama Joyce was ready to come out here and go in on Todd. Then Kandi had to come. I was like, damn. So Kandi came out, had to pull her mother and give more of the diplomatic, response. But Mama Joyce is ready to spill because there's no muzzle on that mouth. And we already know that Mama Joyce is salivating over the fact she is enjoying the fact that Kandi and Todd are not together for whatever reason. I always thought that Todd was a good guy, but I guess you never know who people are if you don't really know them behind the scenes. So they have their reasons for wanting to split. because they mentioned, like, as for how her mother, Mama Joyce, is reacting to the situation, Burruss revealed that she has actually been pretty calm despite being vocal about disliking Todd during their time on Real Housewives of Atlanta, saying she's been trying not to say too much, not to get into it. Sometimes the internet conversations with people, their opinions about our divorce can get in her head. And she's like, well, they said that you need, Burruss laugh, explaining that she replies, Ma, I don't care, because they don't really know what's happening between he and I. We're doing our best to get along and get through this moment because we honestly don't have a lot that we're disagreeing about. We just don't feel like, y'all just feel like y'all just don't want to be married no more. And that's fine. And to me, I think that's the best way to go about it. I don't like when people go, well, we're going to stay together for the sake of the children because we don't want them to grow up in a broken home. No, I don't want a child to have to grow up in an environment where if it's full of negative energy and you got resentment and hatred for people, that is going to be a behavior that child learns. So when they go in their own relationships, they think this is what a relationship is. That you should stay in a relationship no matter how toxic. You should teach people that when things aren't sitting right with you and you don't feel good in this situation anymore, that it's best just for your sanity and that other person's sanity to walk away and give yourself the life that you feel that you deserve and show that, we're better as friends if you live over here and I live over here and we meet somewhere in the middle when it comes to certain events. Like, I find it funny because I remember I was having a conversation with this guy and I think he was at, I can't remember what it was. It might have been a Rangers game or a Knicks game, but he was like he was making comments about his ex-wife because he was like, I'm here with her and we're with the kids, and he's sitting there having this conversation with me, and I'm sitting there just laughing because it's like I totally get where he's coming from, but it's good to have those situations where if things aren't good and going on in your life, you're not comfortable, go your separate ways. And that thing that teaches your kids that, that you shouldn't stay in toxic relationships. So kudos to you, Kandi. And hopefully you and Todd work it out. And I just hope that y'all have a really good amicable split and you have this whole situation, you make it go away as quick as you can. But yeah, the worst part is when you can't leave a marriage and you got kids, so now you stuck with that child you stuck with the man for the rest of your life based on your connection with having them kids. It's the same thing I said about Cardi B. It's like she forever stuck with Offset and now she's forever stuck with Stefan. Because it's like, if you want to get your back blown out, get the back blown out. Don't have a kid with everybody you get your back blown out with, because then y'all forever stuck. So I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding what Kandi had to say. I mean, did y'all watch the episode? Y'all know I don't watch Watch Rappers Live because I don't like Andy. He irritates my entire soul. So, with all of that being said, I definitely want to hear from y'all. How was Kandi coming across? Do you feel like she was holding back or hiding certain things? Because we know, like, she likes to keep certain things close to the chest, especially when it comes to her personal life. Well, here's the thing: even if Kandi was a part of the show anymore, if she was still part of the Housewives of Atlanta, we could give her the same grace that they tend to give Kyle, because they feel like Kyle Richards over at Beverly Hills don't have to disclose things going on in her personal life, and she's getting paid a mint to for us to get into her personal life on these reality shows. So if y'all could make exceptions for her, then I guess we could just accept whatever Kandi's telling us for the time being. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay. This must be a bot with this damn comment at the bottom, but okay. Let's move on, y'all, and get into the show. Now, speaking of, we're going from Atlanta, we go to another Housewives show. And let's get into Beverly Hills and talk about Erika Jayne. So Erika Jayne, and I've told y'all for the most part, yes, I still have not caught up with the Housewives of Beverly Hills. I haven't even started watching this new season yet. I need to get into it, but I've just been so caught up in other shows that I haven't been able to get around to watching the show. But nevertheless, Erika Jayne revealed on the show, because she was having a conversation with Denise Richards. And I think it had to do with the fact that Denise and Aaron Pfeiffer's, her estranged husband, are going through it, and how they were bringing up that there was alleged abuse that was going on in their marriage. And I think in a way for Erika to connect with Denise, she opened up about a relationship that she was in post Tom Girardi that she said was abusive, to the point where she had to get her cop son involved. So Erika Jayne revealed during the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills that she was a victim of DV. While speaking to Denise Richards about her allegations of DV against ex Aaron Pfeiffer's, the Bravo celebrity sympathized by sharing her own recent experiences. Not with any of my husbands, Jayne, 54, told Sutton, Strack, and Richards on Thursday's episode, noting that no one knew until that point, and it's all water under the bridge. Calling a relationship a lot, she disclosed it happened not too long ago. It had happened more than once. Yeah, and then like the third time, I was just like, this is not for me. I'm just going to say one thing, then I'm going to leave it right there. You have no idea how shameful it is to be the mother of a police officer and have to pick up the phone and call 911 and then call your family member and say, I think you should hear this from me first before you hear it from anyone else. Jayne was referencing her only son, Thomas Tommy Zizzo, Jr., who was a sergeant within the LA Police Department. Look, it stopped at the right time. That's far and away gone, and it is what it is. Life goes on, she concluded. Well, I wonder who it was that was putting his hands on her. Now, in a confessional interview, Jayne further delved into her experience with DV, explaining, I met someone and it started out fun. There were no expectations of happily ever after, or this is my person, or any of that BS. It was several months after I met this person that it turned into chaos. The expensive singer was previously married to Thomas Zizzo from 1991 to 1996 before she tied the knot with Tom Girardi in 2000. Despite filing for divorce in 2020, they are still legally married. Jayne has since moved on with John Shrek McPhee, whom she began dating July of 2025. Why is his name John Shrek McPhee? What he look like? Hold on. Well, he got money too. He worth $2.3 billion. They said he does work to. Well, they said Erika Jayne's net worth is $5 million, and he's more likely to have a net worth between 1 million. Well, they said 1 million and 3 million, but now I'm reading. I guess he does high stakes specialized security consulting. But she dating somebody. Why he look like? He looked like somebody out of Duck Dynasty. He was in the military. So, girl, I just hope he know MAGA. That's what I'm hoping. I was like, yeah, I didn't really. Well, at least she around with somebody. She liked the older men because he definitely got a lot of gray up in that beard. Now, Jayne's confession came out as the woman reunited with former housewife Richards and discussed her claims against Pfeiffer's. Now, in the show, the Wild Things star claimed Pfeiffer's had hit me on the side of the head just hours after undergoing a facelift and was already recuperating from a boob job. That's when I really knew there was no hope at ever salvaging this marriage at all. Pfeiffer's, who's 53, filed for divorce of the Wild Things star in July after 6 years of marriage, and they've been in a legal battle ever since. And also, I should also point out that I believe he's trying to get Denise to pay him spousal support. There was something I recently read about that. I'm like, sir, get him off your ass and get a goddamn job. So yeah, let me do my due diligence right here and put that up in here in case anybody is affected and needs, the national DV hotline and all that other stuff. So shout out to Erika. I've always been a fan of Erika Jayne. Long before she was on the Housewives, they used to play her music videos over on Logo, New Now Next, and they were boosting her up to be kind of like that gay pop girl or whatever. And she plays the gay venues and stuff. I don't know if she's still doing the music, because I told you I have been so out of the loop with this new season of the Housewives. But I'm glad that she was open and very transparent and vulnerable to tell this story, because Erika always comes across as this girl who is very strong and tough and will take no ish from nobody. And here she is like, yeah, I was going through this thing. It started out great. It was fun. We were having a great time. And now I had this guy who was being abusive. And that's how it starts. So just be careful out here. And the good thing is, hopefully this opens a Pandora's box for those who like the Housewives and watch the show. If you're going through a situation where a man's putting his hands on you, that this helps you find the strength to walk away from those type of situations. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on what Erika Jayne had to say regarding being open and vulnerable about something that happened to her as a way to show Denise Richards that she wasn't alone in what she was going through? And who knows, maybe this will be a way for them to bring Denise on the show, or maybe she's good as a friend of. I don't know. I have to see how she's been in these episodes and I was like, do you need to bring Denise back? But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now we are down to our final 4 topics. So before we get to our final 4, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. We also have memberships. So if you want to become a member, definitely do so at your own accord. But if you don't want to sign up for the memberships, it won't cost you a thing. By hit that like, that subscribe, and the notification. It definitely helps with the algorithm and all that good stuff. I'm getting this show out there for a wider audience to get their eyes on. I've been unironically listening to. That is a good look. Say what you want about Kim Zolciak, but Tardy for the Party is a bop. I do love that song though. And laughing out loud to it. I don't know why. Those are probably because it's just been so crazy out here. Sometimes, sometimes you need a laugh. And damn, there was some song and it's probably a good thing that it's not in my head right now. But there was a song I was listening to earlier that I just couldn't get out of my head. And it was just like some silly song, whatever. So we all have our moments where we just need to have our little silly moments and stuff. All right, y'all. So now, just getting some American Idol host news. And let's talk about David Archuleta. So David Archuleta has a book. I don't know, is it out already? I think it might be out. But anyway, so he did an exclusive interview with People where he talked about his book, Devout. And also, not only that, but he revealed why he chose homelessness at the height of his career. Now, this is something that shocked me because I had no idea that David Archuleta, cute little self, was, a nomad. So in his new memoir, Devout, the American Idol runner-up reveals that he chose to be homeless and live out of his car in the wake of his rapid rise to fame. He opened up about that decision in an interview with People, telling the outlet, he said, I didn't feel like I deserved to take care of myself. So even though I was having a lot of success in the public, I was sleeping in my car a lot of times because that's what I believed I deserved. That's a lot of that, him being gay and in the closet and how he hated himself. And no shade, but I feel like I've been there a lot of times too, where the point was when you're a person of color, especially, and you're told that and grown up in the 90s, well, yeah, we were progressive in a lot of ways in how times was changing and people were being a little more, I feel, even though we had the AIDS Holocaust and that sort of thing, there was a bit of edginess and queer acceptance we were seeing in cinema, and just feeling like there was a time where parents were kicking kids out of their homes. And if you ever went down to the piers in New York, you would definitely see a lot of the homeless kids that was down there that were resorting to selling their bodies or whatever the case was, just so they could have 3 hots and a cot, and just putting themselves through a whole situation. And luckily I didn't have to deal with that. But when you're someone who's in the closet and you're afraid of the ridicule and people hating you because of who you are, you start the whole self-hating thing and you feel like I don't deserve this, the success that I have. And I think that's also what I will admit prolonged me from wanting to have success in my life, because I felt like I wouldn't be able to get to be in a certain place because I couldn't be my authentic self, or when I would get certain things that I didn't deserve it. So you have to find a way to mind trick yourself and get yourself out of those things and really feel like, and really tell yourself that you are worthy of the things that you receive. And it took me a long time to get there mentally. So after starring in American Idol season 7 and releasing his hit single Crush in 2008, Archuleta was initially living with a relative but chose to live in his car instead, even though he could afford a hotel stay. I had concocted this belief that I didn't deserve to treat myself well, he writes in his book. It was an act of contrition. for my wicked thoughts, for allowing myself to be manipulated by so many. I was at the height of fame and I chose homelessness. You can have everything, but worthlessness comes from within, and I had none. So, this is so sad to hear when you feel like, you know what, I'm not even worthy of any kind of love or success because I'm gay. And it's just like being a Mormon, I'm like, damn, if this what y'all teaching people, or just this is why I stay away from religion, because of what a lot of that brings, a lot of self-hatred. So, however, everything changed when a cop who recognized him caught him sleeping in his car. That experience did force me to acknowledge that living this way might have consequences beyond what I already knew. I could see the headline now: American Idol finalist sleeps in his car. Archuleta, who was raised in the Mormon church, publicly came out as queer in 2021 and left the church the following year, all of which he details in his new book, and of which he told people, it's nice to look back and be like, I got through that in my very imperfect way of doing it, but I made it through it and I found a way to feel better about myself. And even if I wasn't able to accept it at the time, I can look back 16, 17 years later and say, I worked my ass off. I worked as hard as I could. Even feeling miserable through all of that and feeling ashamed to even be there, I worked as hard as I knew how to. Now, speaking to Entertainment Weekly in 2023, after his stint on The Masked Singer, Archuleta echoed that statement, even admitting that he finds it hard to watch performances from that time in his life. So I think it's hard for me to watch American Idol, for example, because I was young and I was very much terrified of myself. And I was just like, well, if I do everything the right way, that part of me won't come forward. I was trying so hard to not just hide that part of me, but to push it down. And that's why sometimes when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I see that I was exhausted, but I was also trying so hard not to be who I naturally was. And that's why I feel like when people come out here and say all that homophobic shit, we don't realize the amount of energy and pressure that so many queer kids, even if they're not famous, I feel like famous people put a face to it because there's a relatability there, and young people who are dealing with this, or so many people, like it's the tale as old as time. He's gone through it. My generation's gone through it. So many others have gone through it, and it's, when you look back on it, it's just like a lot of us have been there where you try to push down and suppress that part of yourself that people hate you for, all because it's a taught behavior from your church or family members, whatever the case is, where it's wrong, it's an abomination, it's all these things. And some people choose to just take themselves out of the equation, if you know what I'm saying. I think you do, because they can't handle the hatred and the vitriol. Or you have people like myself and David Archuleta and so many others who find the strength within themselves to rise up amongst the hate and figure out how to navigate themselves out of that storm. But those who are able to do it, it's like you can look back on it and write about it and say, like, yeah, I don't want to look at those videos or parts of me, because that was a point in my life where you could clearly see in my energy and the way that I look and everything that was a part of my life where I hated myself. And I'm in such a good place now, I don't want to look back on that. But looking back on it, it just goes to show that what you don't want to do when you get over, because I would look at David, I was like, oh, he's so adorable. He's like a little puppy. Like, you looked at him and you felt so bad. Like, you could see that there was something behind those eyes and something going on with him, and you wanted him to work through it. I thought maybe it was a little closetness, but you don't want to be outing people and all this other stuff, because I always feel like people have to come out on the other side of the rainbow in their own time. And I'm glad that he was able to do that. So shout out to you, David. Hopefully the book is successful, and I hope it does open a door for more people who are products of the world of religion to break the chains of that and realize being gay is not a phase. It's not something that is taught. It is a part of who people are. It's not all of who we are, but it's a part of us. And you can't deny all the aspects of who you are, because when you try to push it down and bury it, eventually those things have a way of rising up to the top, to the point where you can't cover it no more. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Because I'm like, that's crazy. And luckily, like, nothing happened to you where somebody tried to like break in your car and rob you or God knows what to you, especially living in your car. And I guess I'm assuming Los Angeles. And that's got to be scary to be living out there in your car, because it's like you felt worthless, or even the stuff where we talked about on the show that he was trying to find different locations where he could take his own life because he didn't deserve to live because he had these feelings of same-sex attraction. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Oh yeah, so I guess, okay, so then it is out then. Pay because we straight men got paid more doing gay films, and he fought for gay men to get the same money he makes because they're into men. What are we talking about? Like, why does this feel like you just started? Wait, where do these comments come from? I've been on oh. Yeah, because I'm like, it's like you started half a sentence. Okay. Now I got this popping up. Look like another damn bot. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show. And let's talk about America's Next Top Model finalist, Marvin Cortez. Now, y'all maybe you remember that person, maybe you don't. But Marvin Cortez was on Cycle 20, and apparently he was a runner-up. But since then, he's found success in the little old world of gay adult cinematography, if you know what I'm saying. I think you do, because I know recently there's this guy that I follow. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's like popular on social media, Fernando Cordova. Well, apparently he's also moonlighting in adult cinematography, and they did a scene together. So that was like when I recently just came across, I was like, oh, Marvin's still out here dipping it and doing it in the adult film world. Well, he's opening up about it. And so shout out to the tab for this story. So when Tyra Banks was desperately trying to keep A&TM relevant, she brainstormed a few alternatives to shake up the format of the hit reality TV show. Such changes including pitting British models against Americans. Oh yeah, I do remember hearing about that one. Doing a college-only cycle and only casting women under a certain height. She really shook things up in 2013, launching America's Next Top Model Guys and Girls, which I actually thought was a good idea because it's co-ed. So, I mean, which we do have that world. And then did she have Tyson Beckford as a judge? Because I was just like, he would work as a judge on the show. So the show featured 8 gorgeous men alongside the equally gorgeous women, and Bronx-based retail worker Marvin Cortez was amongst them. He was incredibly thirsty on the show, being involved in numerous dating storylines with other models. He ultimately placed second behind Jordan Miller. Though Marvin has continued to model since the show, launching his own content agency in the process, he's been considerably more attention. Wait, what? Okay, that line didn't make sense. He's gained. I'll have to fix it. So basically, he gained a lot more attention in making adult entertainment. He's now got nearly 80,000 followers on Twitter, where his very X-rated porn videos are. Currently, Marvin is charging $6.99 a month for his OF, where he has 182 videos, 479 photos, and 513 posts. Now, part of the reason I wanted to create an OF page was the increasing amount of censorship on social media. The restrictions being placed on creators and photographers is broadening on censoring. I wanted to be able to shoot and share all of my photos and videos without having to worry about being thrown off a platform. And yeah, so a lot of times, a lot of men do tend to, I notice a lot of models tend to go on social media, like because on Instagram you can post certain photos, but then they do flag you if you show a little bush, maybe your meat. Sometimes you can't control how much meat you got between me down there. So if you post in certain photos, they have an issue with bulges, or they got issues with, I mean, I see plenty of butt cheeks and stuff on Instagram, but instead of getting your page flagged or taken down, and there's so many people out here who do complain that, oh, when I got to at a certain number on Instagram, they pretty much got rid of my page and I had to start over. I've had to start over about 3 times already with my Instagram, which fucking annoyed me because I had so many awesome followers, a lot of people who follow me and celebrities and everything. And it's like, I had to go and start over. So the people that I was friends with in the past, they don't know to follow me again because they're probably not as active on social media anymore. So I hate when you lose those relationships with people that follow you. So yeah, but then he also, I think, talked about the Tyra documentary. So let me pull up his IG and we can go through that, where he basically talked about it. And then we'll get into the rest of the thing about the adult stuff. So he said, a kid from the Bronx, one name away from winning top model, thinking that moment was everything. Watching the documentary, I met him again. The pressure, the brotherhood, the hunger to be seen. Grateful for the opportunity, the friendships and the experience that shaped me. And for Tyra, who I believe did the best she could for our cycle, I can only speak for ours. But accountability matters. There were adults in the room, producers in control, and there are truths from our season that were never shown. Things that, if they had been, would change how people see this franchise. Well, Marvin, I would love for you to go and post something on your OF and spill some tea. That'd be some great content. You don't only have to sling dick on there. You could also, I mean, even though we don't mind that you do. Boy, got a lot of meat between me down there. I've seen the videos and I've seen the pictures. But he can go on and use your Twitter also. I mean, not Twitter. You can use your OF. I mean, if you want to get people to really, I mean, I would say put some clothes on, but if you really want, because some people be like, well, I'll sit there with some briefs on or whatever the case is, and I'll tell the story. Give us a little story time. Tell us some of the shenanigans that went on behind the scenes of this show. You could really monetize that way better than Bo DeMayo when he was trying to monetize whatever allegedly was going on over there at Disney. It didn't really give us a bunch of anything. So he said, Cycle 25 has a chance to do this differently. Real protection, real mentorship, and a real future after the finale. Because the next kid in that lineup should leave with more than exposure. Well, we'll have to see. He says, still grateful, still rooting for what top model can become. I mean, you know what? I'm saying that I definitely see, I hope that top model becomes, they really need to get this negative stain off of it because of how their show's been exposed and everybody's so caught up in what America's Next Top Model was back in the day. And we're not excusing the behavior because there was a lot of craziness that went on that show and people need to be held accountable. And I do agree that everybody should be, not just Tyra, Ken Mock, the Jays, Nigel, Kelly Catrone, because remember her ass was on there too. And also Janice Dickinson and whoever else came through that was problematic. People should be held to the standard of what they should be held to. But also, I do feel like if they're going to bring Top Model back, and I don't know if people are just all for it now because they feel like Tyra really hasn't taken responsibility for the show. If they do bring the show back, and they bring her back as a host, she'd have to, first of all, come back to America, unless she's going to produce it and put a new model in place. But she's also got to take some kind of accountability, but I don't see her doing that. So if she's not going to come on camera and say, I'm sorry, and take acknowledgement from what happened back, because you can't change the past, but if you can't acknowledge and have sympathy and empathy for what those girls went through, and you using them for content, then people ain't going to want this show. So let's get into the rest of the situation. So I'm glad you spoke out on it. Oh, and sidebar, there were some people in the comments. Don Benjamin, who was also on that season, he said, you will always be Money Marv to me. Somebody asked, you still talk to Renee? Another one said, thank you for saying this about accountability, because other males from ANTM who gave their thoughts sound like a typical male defending Tyra and production actions just because nothing happened to them. James Majesty, was a drag queen. I was rooting so hard. You killed it, babe. Another person, so they bring up Renee again. I remember, he's not the only one that does adult stuff. Also, Dustin McNear. Whatever happened to him? He was another one that was out here slinging ding-a-ling for $1. Okay, so now let's get into why him coming out in 2021, 8 years after he did Top Model. So now back in August of 2021, ANTM's Marvin took to Instagram with a lengthy statement about his sexuality. He came out as bisexual while hinting at homophobia within his family. He explained, because Hispanics and homophobia. I want to let you guys know I'm coming out as openly bisexual. I've been in love with both men and women, and I'm proud to be part of the gay community in my personal life. I just want to share that with you now publicly online. I just want to say thank you for your support. I've never been happier. I look forward to living more of an authentic life and sharing that with you. He also noted staying in the infamous closet to protect his family, but that he could no longer hide himself from the world. He said, I want them to know that I've delayed this as much as possible because I respect them very much. I respect their values. I don't think there's anything wrong with the way they think, even if that means they don't accept my, because you're using the wrong terms. But hopefully he came to better terms with this because he said they don't accept my lifestyle, how I am. So what it is, he said, I'm never going to stop loving them. I know it's going to be hard for them to accept. I hope you come to a different term in that whole situation because it's like you can't say that you respect them and respect their values and there's nothing wrong with the way that they think. There is something wrong with the way they think. If they think there's something wrong with you because you have an attraction towards men and you have an attraction towards women, even though I think all of your content is with men. I've not seen Marvin hunching girls on camera. If he has, let me know. But for the most part, or maybe it's that man on man content is more profitable than him doing content with women, which is why a lot of times I think guys who are fluid tend to do more male on male stuff versus male on female. Or it could be that a lot of girls don't want to do stuff with guys who hook up with other guys. There's a lot of those biases in the industry too. So it's not a lifestyle, it's your life. It's a part of who you are. A lifestyle is I'm going to go down and play cricket, or I'm going to go horseback riding, or I'm going to wear this outfit that this stylist put together for me. It's a Louis Vuitton shoe, and I'm going to wear bonbon or something or another. That's a lifestyle, the way you carry and you live your life in those ways. But who you are attracted to is not a lifestyle. So I feel like people, especially people of color, have really got to change that narrative. But shout out to you, Marvin. You're fine. So he's so cute. And shout out to him because like he's out here doing his thing, whatever the case is. And I just feel like we need more people to speak out on the things that's going on in the world. But I like what he had to say in regards to the whole Tyra thing. So at least he came at it from a more mentally aware and understanding perspective. But I do say this, Marvin, and this is some free situation. The stuff that you know about top models, so you don't only have to use OF for the sexual content. Yes, that's when you get your coins and you probably successful over there with the amount of people that you have on your Twitter and all that other stuff. But if it comes down to it, definitely use it as a moment to create some story time specifically to your OF. And you could, and with the iron being so hot for any kind of details regarding what happened behind the scenes on Top Model, you could definitely make a mint doing that or spilling tea on what happened behind the scenes on that show. Or you can come on this show and I can interview you. That'd be a plus. So I say, oh, this is what do you guys think of this story regarding Marvin Cortez talking about why he got, why he turned to. Wait, first of all, I just realized something. Did he actually reveal? Because they mentioned in the headline the whole thing, but I don't feel like he actually revealed why he turned to gay porn. Because you talking about how you was openly bisexual and stuff, but I don't see like you didn't really reveal. But I'm assuming maybe the reason why he joined, maybe he got into adult performing because it was a way for him to take his life back in regards of his family and their homophobia, or what it probably was that, now that I'm thinking about it, it probably had to do with the Instagram. Like he was doing sexy photos for Instagram and that sort of thing. And it was his way of trying to take back the narrative by going over to OF and being like, so y'all trying to tell me I can't post these things over here and y'all looking down on adult performance. There was somebody else that brought up something too. I know I'm supposed to get off this topic, but there was somebody told me some tea about Lisa D'Amato, and I totally forgot about this. The fact that on her season when she won, that she initially wasn't supposed to win. I think it was the girl was disqualified, if I'm not mistaken, because apparently some stuff about her in the past, some nude photos, came out about her, or she did like a sex tape or something or another, and it apparently came out. I can't remember what it was, but there was something to do with nudity and things that came out in regards to her, and she got disqualified for the show, which pushed Lisa up to win. And they said she might have had something to do with it. So the way this industry thumbs its nose at sex, when we have a lot of people out here who be trafficking people, and sex is used to get gigs and this and that. I don't know why y'all be thumbing your nose at the sex trade industry. At least people be honest about their sex stuff. Unlike the entertainment industry that low key profits off of it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. So I hate you too. I'm gonna stop commenting because it's hard to do paragraph. Well, you be trying to write whole novels. He said because it breaks my whole thing and it gets lost in translation. Tyson was a guest judge a few times, but Rob Evans was there on cycle 20, and Kelly Control. They didn't get her too. Remember her? She was a mess. I think that in the documentary, they should have covered the homophobia Will and Corey experienced and some of the skin issues people dealt with. Well, hopefully somebody makes another thing and they explore a lot of that, because, yeah, I do feel like they should have covered the co-ed season. Marvin was on TikTok live the other night, and he is supportive because he hopes it's another All-Stars and he wants to come back. Well, I don't think they'll be making an All-Stars. I think they're trying to start fresh, and they want it. Yeah, I think they're trying to start new with the show and start from like scratch or everything. So I don't know if they're going to do an All-Stars to bring back a lot of the old heads, because with all of that, a lot of people spilling tea from those eras. Who's going to want to come back into that, especially dealing with all the traumas of that show in the past? A lot of people want Niall to be interviewed because, remember, him being deaf made a lot of stuff tricky. Oh, yeah, because now DeMarco was on it. Yeah, they definitely need to start interviewing him. Didn't he win Dancing with the Stars? I like Niall. I forgot he was on that show. There was a lot of people that came off of that show. All right, now let's talk more reality news. Let's get into this Tim Gunn tea, who I do miss Tim Gunn over on Top Model. I miss Tim Gunn over there on Project Runway. I don't know. We were just talking about Top Model. That's why I'm thinking about that. So, yeah, I miss Tim Gunn over there. I really wish that he could come back as a mentor of sorts, but look, they got Christian Siriano, and I like Christian too. So they're trying to go in a completely different direction. But he recently did an interview with Chelsea Handler, because she got a podcast, which I think you can actually see it on Netflix. So he basically talked about why he's been celibate for over 4 decades. Now, former Project Runway judge revealed that he's been celibate for 43 years because of his cheating ex. He said, I had a very serious 9-year relationship in Washington, D.C., and I loved this person deeply and would have done anything for him. And I still remember the night that it all ended. This is what Gunn 72 said on the February 19th episode of Chelsea Handler's podcast, Dear Chelsea. Gunn recalled that the former couple were in bed not watching MASH, child, when his ex told him, I have no patience for you any longer. I want you to leave. Oh, hell no. So I'm in the bed and we just kick in. And all of a sudden you get it in your head to just disrespect me and just be like, what? I'm done with you. Get out the bed. I want you to leave. He said, I had my own apartment, but I had been living with him for years, and I left, the TV personality said. I drove to my apartment on Rock Creek Parkway, and I had to pull off because I was hyperventilating. I was beside myself with self-flagellation and self-pity, and it was awful. And that would really piss me off. And look, thank God you still had your own apartment. See, that's smart. So any of y'all out there that's thinking about moving in with a significant other, keep your little apartment on the side just in case. Because I'll be damned when somebody tell me to leave their fucking house. You ain't got to tell me twice, bitch. I'll be glad to leave. I will never let somebody have autonomy over me. Now, Gunn shared that his ex was also not his coworker, so he knew they had to see each other again. saying one of the things that he told me that night was that he'd been sleeping with just about everybody that walked by, and I had been loyal and faithful to him. He was the only person I'd ever been with. And I hope and pray that you ain't getting no STIs from him. The fashion guru continued, the self pity then turned into completely unbridled anger because I thought he may have given me a death sentence. Of course, and I was tested every 6 months for 10 years for HIV, and thankfully I had a clean slate. But whenever I was even tempted to engage in something that could become serious with someone, all this would come back like Niagara Falls and it would just take the desire away. Gunn admitted that becoming celibate and someone who lives alone was a bit of an adjustment for him at first, but now he wouldn't have it any other way. Now, elsewhere on the podcast episode, he opened up about not being asked to be in the 2025 Project Runway reboot, calling the rejection devastating at first, but he said things happen for a reason, adding that he feels extremely lucky to have had 19 seasons on the show, 16 with Heidi Klum. And, I'm sure that they're still friends. And remember, at one point they did Project Runway and then they did the show Making the Cut, which I actually like the idea, but it was literally Project Runway with just on Amazon. That's basically what the difference, and a much better set. And set in LA, which doesn't work because the fashion capital, no shade, is in New York. So it needs to kind of have that New York vibe because you can't replicate that whole fashion thing anywhere else. But listening to Tim Gunn say this, I feel so bad, but I totally understand where he's coming from. It's like when you've been madly in love with that one person and they do something so devastating that it's just like, oh no, it's like I've never really gotten over that traumatic situation. So he continues to, whenever another guy finds interest in him and he re traumatizes himself. But I'm saying, like, you gotta get in a relationship. You don't want to just fuck. I'm like, let's throw them legs up to Jesus and go to Pound Town. Um, why would you want to? I'll be like, okay, now I don't want to get in no serious relationship, but trust me, I'm gonna go out and fuck. Well, that would be me. It's like I don't want to have to do the. And here's the thing, I totally get what he says. Like, I mean, I wouldn't call myself celibate. I do get it in, but as far as like a relationship thing goes, I like my own company. I have great friends that I can call on, and we could just hang out, and they give me the I feel like the emotional support that I need. But as far as like sex, I don't want to get serious with somebody because it's like what you're not going to do is I give you my heart and I give you this that, and the other, and you're going to stomp on it because you stomp on me, I'm going to stomp on you for real. And I'm not metaphorically speaking on it. So just know that up front. I fight. But no, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna put my hands on nobody because I ain't going to jail for no DV. But for the most part, I'd rather just, you know, if I want to go and have a friend with a benefit or just have sex or get it in, especially I think living in a metropolis like New York, you don't have to really get serious with people. And I know some people feel away with like, oh, nobody ever wants to get serious. Well, if that's your goal, then you go ahead and do that. But I think that a lot of times, I mean, there's different situations and levels to it where you could think like when it comes to some people they don't want to get hurt, and then there's some people that just have a lot of sex and don't want to commit because there could be some self-hatred deep down inside where they haven't come to terms fully with their homosexuality. They look at it as just, it's me to just get off. And once I'm done with that, then I go back to living my regular life. But that's different. With Tim's situation is he seemed like he's someone who is a lover, someone who falls truly madly, deeply in love. And he got hurt by some low down piece of shit who he gave his entire life to and wasn't on the same page with him to commit that he was. Because he's like, if I'm in a relationship, we supposed to be monogamous, we supposed to be doing these things. But if you want to go and carry and have sex with other people, you could have at least come to me from the beginning and spoke about this, but you wasn't man enough to do it. And so now Tim is like, I'd rather just be alone than have to deal with some bullshit from another man. And I guess at 73, when you set in your ways, what else you gonna do? Right? Wait, let me double check. Oh, he's 72. I done had him one age up. I said, let me double check what the age was before I get off this. But yeah, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I like Tim Gunn, and I always feel like everybody, if you want it, deserves love. But if he's set in his ways and he's content with where his life is, and I'm sure there's other things that give him that love and joy and things that he needs, and he doesn't necessarily feel he has to get it from a relationship in order to feel complete, then who am I to judge? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Mhm. Oh wait, was there another wait, did I see this? Angelia was an escort before top model, and there was a story going around that Bree heard from someone that Lisa. Oh, you know the T too? Yeah, because I was like, that was the conversation. Me and a friend of mine was talking about this yesterday because he was doing a deep dive with top model, and he told me this because he knows Lisa personally. So we had this conversation on that good old phone. It's funny when I talk to my industry source, we be on the phone for like 3 hours just spilling all kinds of gossip, and that's how I get a refresh on what's the tea, what's going on. Fill me in. You said Angela was oh yeah, you said and Bree heard from someone that Lisa might have been the one to go to production. That's what I said, that she was the one that snitched, and that's how she got moved up to win the show. So you was out here doing sabotage. You said exactly. Have your own space because scenarios like this can happen to anyone. I understand trauma, but that's what I said. 4 decades. 4 decades and I fucking are you crazy? I ain't saying you gotta be in a relationship, but at least get your nut off. And I'm not talking about just with your hand. Like let somebody else please you. It's a long time to let someone wrongdoing against you stop you from moving on. I'm like, child, and you got money for a therapist. Like, work through your trauma. So I would never let a man just prevent me from living my life the way I need to live it. Because I'm like, yeah, 40 years, Jesus. And meanwhile, he probably out here sleeping with Tom, Dick, and Harry. If he ain't dead, if his dick didn't fall off all the men he be fucking. Mm. But anyway, all right, y'all. So now let's get into our final topic. And we got some sad news from the world of Drag Race. So if you watch Drag Race Down Under, me, I was not a big fan of Drag Race Down Under, but I love the Drag Race. So, well, I love drag. I said I love the Drag Race. Like I'm an old person. I love Drag Race. So I definitely feel like that, when we lose another one of the family, we got to talk about it on the show. So Maxi Shield apparently was diagnosed with cancer 5 months ago and has passed away from the disease. So multiple friends of the Sydney-based drag star born Christopher, and that's with a K, Elliott, have paid tribute to her on social media. Dylan Shaw of Sydney's famed Libidical nightclub, Universal, wrote in a post on social media that the community was shocked and deeply saddened by the drag star's death. Shaw honored her big personality and heart of gold, saying, quote, in all my years in this community, there's never been a time I can remember when Maxi wasn't an iconic presence, and she'd absolutely smack you for reminding her of that. Shaw wrote, Maxi worked across every queer venue in Sydney, touching hearts not only across the country, but around the world through her appearance on Drag Race Down Under. This Mardi Gras will feel different. It will be more solemn, as so many of us gather carrying the space led by her smile, her quick wit, and her remarkable spirit. Australian drag wig company Wigs by Vanity. Weren't they also sponsors of Drag Race? They confirmed the news on Instagram. So I do have that IG post. Hold on as I pull that up for y'all to see. And said, it is with the heaviest of hearts that we share this news that our dearest sister, Maxine, has passed away. We are all mourning the loss of an incredible icon, friend, and our loved sister. Our beloved sister. Thank you for the laughs, the cackles, and the magic you brought into our lives. I will cherish every second of our 30-year friendship, and I'm so grateful that I was part of your chosen family. You will be forever loved and deeply missed. I love you, I love you, old Gail. And so we have some comments. Bianca Del Rio says, sending much love. Satam Amrul sent some heart emoji. That's Raja. Lexi Lovitz put some broken heart emojis. Cynthia Lee Fontaine was gagging, saying, "What? OMG." Hannah Hannah Conda official. Our girl is gonna be not this. It's not. It's gonna not be the same without her giggles in it. I'm so heartbroken. Blue Hydrangea said, "I'm beyond devastated and will cherish all the joy and laughter we shared, sending a lot of love." Brooklyn Heights said, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry." Um, Victoria's Secret Dublin said, "Poor Maxi, she was so strong battling it. It was great to see her getting back where she belongs recently on stage. RIP Maxi, all the love from Ireland Vanity." Darian Lake was in the comments with some broken hearts. Alexis Michelle says, deepest condolences." Ivory Glaze had made a comment. Um, yeah, so a lot of the Drag Race girls was up in the comments and had some stuff to say in Wigs by Vanity. And so they all, yeah. So they went and said, prior to becoming a global drag star via Drag Race Down Under, Maxi Shield was a veteran of the Australian drag scene, performing across the country. In 2000, she performed at the closing ceremony of the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney. And then the Olympics end yesterday. She was one of the entertainers opening the Gay Games in the city in 2002. She was a regular performer at venues across Oxford Street, Sydney's notable Libidiqua Plus area. In August, Maxi had been performing at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland alongside her season one sister, Art Simone, when she was hospitalized. She was forced to pull out of her show, Fountain Lakes in Lockdown, a drag parody play, and taken to a hospital due to a swollen gland pushing blood vessels in her throat. In September, she shared a health update from fans confirming that the growth had been diagnosed as cancerous. She spent the following months undergoing treatment for the growth, including chemo and radiotherapy. Maxi had also been using social media to share frequent health updates with her fans. The drag entertainer returned to performing earlier this month for the first time since the diagnosis. And then they went on to say in a post on Instagram, Drag Race Down Under season one winner Ketamine remembered Maxi Shield as the kindest queen that has ever been, saying, "Your love for drag, your wicked sense of humor, your growing spirit, there will forever be a void in my heart, in my heavy heart, sorry, where your fabulousness hit me like a ton of bricks. Your strength over the last few months has been incomprehensible, and I will go forward with such pride in my heart, knowing I was friends with the best sister in the business." So, yeah, this is a breaking story, and I will definitely keep you guys updated as it develops. But this is all sad. I mean, no shade. I wasn't a real big fan of Drag Race Down Under. I really couldn't. That was like one of the seasons franchises I couldn't get into, but I really got into it um around the time when um Michelle Visage came on board and she started to host it. When she started hosting, I was like, I don't know, the energy was different. I started liking it. The way she was produced or hosting the show felt better than what RuPaul was giving. Don't even get yeah, so I wasn't about to bring up something about regular drag race because that last episode pissed me off. We know how all that went down. Maybe we could talk about that after this topic is done. But yeah. So shout out to you, Maxi Shields, RIP. It's always sad when we lose a member of the Drag Race family. And condolence to you and all your family and friends who knew you well. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? This sad news coming out of the world of Drag Race. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. May she rest in Minogue paradise. And say, damn, I didn't even know she was sick, much as less sick like that. Damn, she did a lot of. I was like, yeah, I didn't even know. It's like you never know what's going on with these people. You said I would keep an eye out on Nina Bonina Brown on the Raw View. She posted today. She revealed that she couldn't see a future for herself or living a long life. It was scary to hear as a fan. Nina, I hope she ain't out here thinking about unaliving herself, because girl, I'm glad you brought it up because I was like, should I do a segment on this episode or we could just talk about it in conversation? So since that just my baby daddy brought it up, let's just talk about it as just like a regular opinion piece. I did state that Juicy was being carried, especially with that situation that happened in last week's episode with her and Mia. were together, and she was like, well, she misses being with Mikey Meeks because Mikey Meeks was this, well, clearly she's the funny one. She's got an actual brain that she uses, and she comes up with concepts, and she helped Juicy win that challenge. I know a lot of people said that they were mad that Juicy won the challenge that she won. What was it for RDR Live? People felt like it wasn't deserved. I looked at it as for the way they were telling this, because look, RuPaul's Drag Race is a reality show. They're there to tell a story, and that's what it is at the end of the day. It's not really about the competition. I mean, that does play a bit in it, but they're all there to tell a story. And it's hard to tell a story when this season has been the Kumbaya season, and people are feeling like this season of Drag Race has been kind of boring and kind of dry and very crunchy, like that dip that excuse me, Kenya did when she went up against, excuse me, Mia Star. I had a beer earlier. That's why I'm burping. Before I came on the show. Mia Star. She went against Mia Star. And everybody was like, Mia won that lip sync. And I'm like, they can do much more with. I was pissed off that she won. I was like, what? Like, I literally was like, how them girls be reacting on the UK versus the world when they shocked whenever a queen goes home. How they faces be looking. I was like, no, that was literally me when Mia got shot. I was like, finally, Kenya ass going home. But the thing is, Kenya is, you could do more with her. She's way more entertaining. And so they could do more with her on the show versus Mia. Mia, cute as a button. I didn't even know my friend knew Mia because I was like, bitch, you could have introduced me to her. Because I do have a thing for Mia Star. Like, you could have introduced me to her at the drag race event. He was like, "You, I didn't introduce her because they know each other." And actually, he told me that his picture was on her guitar when she came out modeling with the Prince look. He was telling me, I was like, so I didn't know they knew each other like that. But I think it was because it was so much chaos going on at the drag race premiere that um the introducing and things, it was just too much going on. Like, it was way more chaotic than when we did the previous season. The previous season was a much bigger venue. You could actually pull the queens to the side and have real conversations with people, like I did with Tsunami Muse, which, sidebar, I got some tea in regards of she's going to be on the upcoming season. I mean, remember how they were doing the Slajon Royale situation where they're doing a Latin version, and she's going to be on that season alongside Alexis Mateo. You heard it here first. So they're currently filming it. I can't tell you where, but they're currently, that was what I was sworn to be quiet about, where they're filming it. Mebu hi. That was the hint. Um, I can't tell you where, but she gonna be on the show. But anyway, so to answer your question, because I feel like I've just been all over the place. It's probably because there was a lot going on with this season. It was annoying me. But yeah, Mia should not have went home, but she was kind of boring, and that Bloody Mary was terrible. So they're not. But what's we saying? Oh, he was asking, "What are my thoughts on Juicy being carried this season?" Yeah, Juicy she got to come up with something, and I think that was the warning that Rue gave her in that last episode when she said to her, like, "Who are you? Like, we don't know who you are. We know you can dance and all that other stuff, but as far as like the personality, where is it? And if you don't bring the personality, sis, you about to be the next one on the chopping block." And we'll see next week, because next week, isn't that an acting challenge or something or another? We're gonna see how they survive in that. And here's another thing that's been bothering me about this show. I really wish Athena would have stuck to doing the Charlie Chaplin thing instead of listening to RuPaul, who always wants to push for people to do stereotypes. It's like, ma'am, you already got a lashing with the Shirley Q liquor shit and all that other stuff from back in the day. Why do you keep trying to push this thing regarding you want people to play a racist stereotype? So you want her to play some Greek woman that she made up, being the first wife of Aristotle Onassis before she got with Jackie O, or he got with Jackie O. So you wanted her to play that up. And it's like, no, I would have loved to see what she did with Charlie Chaplin and try to make him interesting. So I feel like the right person, the right people were in the top. I loved Drew Barrymore. Mikey Meeks, Drew Barrymore. Um, Nina, I loved, what was it, David Attenborough? I loved that performance. That was everything. I've heard that performance, that character's been done before, but it was not good. But that's because That's because it depends on the people there that can make it funny or whatever the case is, and that's what they did. But I'm like, girl, if you was going to do Bloody Mary, you had to come up with some stuff in regards of how to do the character. A friend of mine, you want to hear something funny? Because so we were having a conversation. I was like, if I ever did um Snatch Game, I was saying to him, who could I play? He said Dorian Corey. I was like, bitch, now that'd be funny. He said Dorian Corey. I could do Jack Hay, which I'm like, okay, I could definitely do that. I said, why? Because I'm light skinned. So I'm like, and that would be characters like I could definitely do Jack Hay. I could do Dorian Corey because of the shade and stuff and the one line is it's like I kind of sound like Dorian Corey when the way I be delivering my shit any damn way. So I was like, oh, I could definitely play that. We said a couple of others. Oh, he's also said I could play Della Reese. I was like, yeah, I could definitely do Della Reese. I could play her as the demure, mindful church lady and also go into old Harlem Nights, Della Reese. Definitely do some of that for Snatch Game. But here's the thing: is like you got to go in and you got to come prepared with the characters you're going to play, and that's um what was Aquaria? That's what she went and said on social media, and then um Athena decided to pipe up. I don't think Aquaria meant anything negative. I think she was saying, like, yeah, y'all got to come prepared. Y'all know that Snatch Game comes every season. It is an annual part of the show. If you're going to come up with a character, maybe you need to sit and ask your friends, like, what character can you see me playing on Snatch Game? And if that is the character that you're going to play, do the research. First of all, you have to send in a whole bit about you doing a Snatch Game character when you do your audition. I know this because of I have a friend who's actually done quite a few of their tapes. So that's what you have to do. So that make no damn sense. So I hope I answered your question. If she don't shape up and she gonna be shipping out if she don't figure out how she look, you can't get carried this whole season. You gotta you know, this is not RuPaul, I'm carrying a bitch friends race. If Juicy does one more unnecessary cartwheel, I'm gonna start rooting for her and make the finale. I don't think she's making the finale. Now Miss Nene, that's my winner pick. That Snatch Game made me want to watch some nature. I love Nene. Nene is so cute. And then on top of that, they got a personality. If I were Juicy, that who are you critique would lead me to a you mean the same spiral when Michelle called out a certain queen for not knowing the words, which quiet as it's kept, she didn't know the words to that song that she was lip singing to alongside Mia. But like I said, that was production. Production was like Mia shut down. I also think Mia shut down because she got on her head. You could definitely see it in her face. Her face shifted. She got on her head, and we never heard much from her ever again, which makes me think that it got worse as they went on. And here's another thing. Snatch Game of Love Island is how you do Snatch Game. I hated that last Snatch Game that was on UK versus the world. Hated it. The only thing I liked from it, like I said, was Godland doing Cardi B. But but the Snatch Game of Love Island, I loved it. And on top of that, I feel like they need to continue to do that. That would be a great addition to the show or find ways of going about it and not have RuPaul ask the questions. Let RuPaul sit there and make her little facial expressions or whatever the case. I mean, she ain't like she do much work on the show any damn. She barely judges. So let people stand there or like some of the male actors, because I remember Zane fine ass. He was in Fire Island and he was on that show with what was it called? The one with Nathan Lane and Matt Bomer, where he played a closeted, well, Zane character. Zane, he played a closeted Mormon, and he was on that show. And Froy, I've been seeing him in a couple of things. I think he was in, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was in damn, what was that movie? Evil Dead. So I remember seeing him around. Kelly Catrone came for Jay Manuel and said he didn't work in the fashion industry, and without Tyra, this bottom slur would have been whatever. Kelly, girl, you should not be talking when you look like an unseasoned bull dagger. That girl needs somebody need to put some makeup on her. That's the most unattractive bitch I've ever seen on camera. Oh yeah, you said I forgot it's a rusical. So many people were getting on Athena for playing a made up character. Did you see? Yeah, that's what I brought up about the whole Aquaria thing. So I'm Team Aquaria on this on the whole situation. And Athena getting on her feelings, girl. That comment was about as crunchy as that ugly ass wig you wore as that made up character you played on Snatch Game. So girl, have a seat. Alexis Mateo will be competing for the uh-huh. Well, you caught it when I said my boo huh? Mhm. I said I gave y'all the hint. Probably because it's cheaper. What I've heard. But anyway. All right, y'all. So oh you said the CW former CEO came and threw Tyra under the bus. He told her to shake things up, but never told her to fire the panel that people loved. I just told her to start thinking of. They were going to cut it down to 30 minutes. I mean, quiet as it's kept. The show would have been that short anyway with all the damn ad revenue. I mean, how longer is a 1 hour show with commercials? Isn't it like 30 minutes? I mean, 35 minutes, maybe 40? And you get basically 20 minutes of commercials in between. So how short did you want me to make the show? That's why I was like, I didn't believe when she said that they told me to fire them. Cause I'm like, girl, the same way you said you fought for that Latina in the first cycle, why don't you fight for your judges? Why don't you fight for the people that you knew made the show what it was? I think what Tyra was upset about was the fact that the Jays and Nigel overshadowed her on the show because she was the host. So ego, I believe, played into it. And she was like, "I know they're not gonna believe me, but I had nothing to do with them getting fired." Yes, you did. I truly believe you had something to do with it. But anyway, we're done with today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I will be on tomorrow with a brand new episode, so look out for that. Lord willing, we have some good tea to spill, which I'm sure we will. And yeah, thank you for joining me in the comments. Thank you for your continued support and keying with me and all this other stuff and watching this show. Hit that like button, that subscribe, and also smash the notification if you haven't already. It definitely helps with the algorithm. Also, if you want to become a member, you could do so. We have memberships and things of that nature. So, yes, love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.